Chapter 334. Feng Anna was naturally familiar with the recording that Yin Yuntian played. This was what she told Wang Haoran early in the morning. But how could these words be recorded? And in Yin Yuntian's hands? You can't hear it, can you? Then take a look at these photos. Yin Yuntian threw out a stack of photos in his hand. The photos flew in the air for a while and scattered on the ground. Feng Anna glanced at some of the photos on the ground and naturally recognized that the woman in the photos was herself. And from the way her eyes were closed in the photos, it was obvious that she was raped. The man in the photos was censored, so she couldn't see his face clearly. But from the angle, it was obvious that this man took the photos. If Feng Anna couldn't tell who recorded the recording when she heard it, then when she saw the photos, she immediately knew who did it. Listen to my explanation. Listen to your sophistry, right? Feng Anna was interrupted by Yin Yuntian before she could finish her words. Who was the man in the photos? Yin Yuntian asked angrily. Feng Anna opened her mouth and wanted to answer, but when the words were about to come out, she suddenly swallowed them back. Just now, her mind was in a mess. She had indeed wanted to tell the truth without thinking about it. But after all, she was not a brainless woman. After a short panic, she had already understood something. These photos and recordings were Wang Haoran's masterpiece. There was no doubt about it. But how did Wang Haoran know about Yin Yuntian's existence and give these things to him before she went to find Yin Yuntian? And more importantly, since Wang Haoran had the guts to give it to him, how could he not have a way to deal with it? Feng Anna didn't believe that the man who had set her up would not have thought of this. Telling the truth might be able to divert the fire, but Yin Yuntian was so domineering. He would definitely not tolerate what she did. He would not let her go in the end. And if she kept it a secret, there might be a chance for her to survive. In a short time, Feng Anna thought a lot and said, "Just kill me. I have nothing to say. You're not going to tell me? It doesn't matter. I'll find a way to find out." Yin Yuntian sneered and then said to Feng Anna in a tone of command, "Your Feng family is also a very respectable family in Hong Kong Island. For the sake of the Feng family, I'll give you 3 days. Give yourself a dignified death. This will be good for the Feng family and Feng Shishan." Feng Anna was not surprised by Yin Yuntian's words, but her face still paled. However, what was worth consoling was that Yin Yuntian did not kill him on the spot. Instead, he gave him 3 days. Feng Anna naturally wouldn't waste this precious time. After hearing Yin Yuntian's words, she didn't plead for anything because she understood that pleading was useless. He lowered his head and left in a hurry. "Follow her, I want to know who that man is." After Feng Anna left, Yin Yuntian said to Yuning, the reason why he didn't kill Feng Anna on the spot and gave her 3 days was that he wanted to find out the man who had an affair with Feng Anna. He didn't really want to give face to the Feng family. If Feng Anna directly said the man she had an affair with, then she would be a corpse now. "I'll go right away," Yuning responded and left the house. However, she didn't follow Feng Anna, but reported everything to Wang Haoran. Feng Anna returned to the hotel in a daze. "Anna, how's the matter? Is it solved?" Zhongli saw Feng Anna coming back and immediately asked with an expectant smile. But after seeing Feng Anna's face, she suddenly paused. The smile on her face disappeared and asked solemnly, "Did something happen?" Feng Anna took a deep breath, tried to calm down her emotions, and said what happened just now. Zhongli was stunned for a long time after listening, and then said, "Anna, isn't this what you expected? Why did this happen?" "I was careless, and I was schemed against. That Wang Haoran looks like a rich second generation on the surface, but he is actually a hidden guy," Feng Anna said with a depressed face. "If you told the truth, Yin Yuntian wouldn't be so angry with you. Why did you hide it?" Zhongli asked in confusion. "If I said it directly, maybe I wouldn't be able to come back alive." Feng Anna was scared. "But the result is not good. Yin Yuntian only gave you 3 days. What about after 3 days?" Zhongli said anxiously. Feng Anna closed her eyes and tried to calm herself down. Many thoughts turned in her mind. After a long time, she suddenly opened her eyes and said, "Hurry up and help me find that Wang Haoran." "Anna, you want to find him for revenge, right?" Zhongli asked. "No, maybe he's the only one who can save me now," Feng Anna said. He is a little rich second generation. Even if he has a little background, how can he compete with the young master of Fengshi Mountain? Yin Tian? Zhongli was puzzled. Intuition tells me that this person is not as simple as he looks. Aunt Zhong, if you don't want to collect my corpse in 3 days, don't doubt my words, and hurry up and find him. Feng Anna urged. Hearing that, Zhongli naturally did not continue to be long-winded and hurriedly left to find Feng Anna. It was early in the morning, and when Feng Anna saw Zhongli again, it was already dark. However, Zhongli returned disappointed and did not find Wang Haoran. That night, Feng Anna tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep no matter how hard she tried. The next day, Zhongli went out to look for him, but still did not find him. It was another sleepless night. When the sun rose, it also symbolized the arrival of the last day of the deadline. Feng Anna was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan in the hotel. However, the good news did not come. Instead, she received a call from her family to cut ties with her. Feng Anna, as the pearl in the palm of the Feng family, was directly expelled from the Feng family. When she just ended the call with her father and mother, the company called again. Her business partner and best friend took advantage of the time when she was not in the company, secretly manipulated and took over the company that she had painstakingly built. Feng Anna was as delicate as a princess, and she had everything that women envied, but now they were all lost. Even her life was gone soon, and she was afraid that she would not see the sun tomorrow. Life was full of ups and downs, and no one could bear it. After suffering such a huge blow, even Feng Anna, who had an excellent psychological quality, could not bear it. She was so sad that she hugged her head and squatted on the ground, crying. This time, she was not pretending, and she was really crying. TSK, tisk. From the unlocked door, there was a mocking laughter. Hearing the sound, Feng Anna stopped crying and turned to look. Chapter 335. She saw Wang Haoran standing there with his arms crossed, waiting for a good show. Feng Anna saw this figure and immediately wiped the tears on her face and stood up from the ground. His eyes, which had been filled with despair, regained some hope. It's my fault. I shouldn't have schemed against you. Feng Anna said sincerely. I have also repaid you. Wang Haoran said indifferently. Did you come here just to laugh at me? Feng Anna asked. Of course. Do you think I will save you? Wang Haoran couldn't help but laugh. He learned about the situation from Yuning and learned about the 3-day agreement. He happened to be free today, so he came to see how embarrassed Feng Anna was. Now that he saw it, he was really happy. What if I beg you to save me? Feng Anna bit her lips and said weakly. Don't pretend to be pitiful, I don't buy it. Wang Haoran curled his lips. As long as you save me, I can give you half of the Feng family's property, worth more than 15 billion. Feng Anna threw out a heavy offer. Even when you were the princess of the Feng family, you were not qualified to give away half of the Feng family's property. Now your parents have cut ties with you. What right do you have to say such words? Wang Haoran sneered. My parents are just afraid that Yin Tian will vent his anger on them, so they want to cut ties with me. As long as Yin Tian stops, I can naturally return to the Feng family. Feng Anna's mood gradually calmed down, and she said, in my generation in the Feng family, there are no males. There are only 2 sisters who are not scheming. As long as I return to the Feng family, I have many ways to seize the Feng family's property. Wang Haoran slightly raised his eyebrows. You are willing to give half of the Feng family's ancestral property to an outsider. Our biological parents disregarded my opinion and arranged the marriage between me and Yin Tian. They just used me as a tool to exchange for benefits. Feng Anna's eyes flashed with deep resentment. When I was in danger, they didn't save me, but they were busy drawing a line with me. Why should I talk about feelings with such a Feng family? Wang Haoran said lightly. But I'm not short of money. This is only one of the conditions, Feng Anna said. Other than your family business, what else do you have? Wang Haoran asked in disdain. Feng Anna wiped away the tears on her face and tidied up her clothes and wavy hair. The pride of a princess of the Feng family appeared on her face. Am I not more valuable than wealth? Seeing Feng Anna's narcissistic display, Wang Haoran was a little unhappy. although he had to admit that Feng Anna was indeed very beautiful and moved people's hearts. However, Feng Anna said, "So, in such a situation, who did she think she was? Do you think I look like an animal that only thinks with its lower body?" Wang Haoran said unhappily, "When I first saw you, I indeed felt that way. But now, I know that my perception is the opposite. You are very rational, because when I fainted, all I did was take pictures. You didn't do anything else to me. I wasn't rational. I couldn't finish it in a short time, so I spent a few minutes simply taking pictures," Wang Haoran secretly said, but on the surface he said, "Since you understand, why do you still say that?" Feng Anna continued, "I can guess that you should not lack beautiful women around you. However, there should not be a woman who is willing to do anything for you." Speaking of this, she paused, secretly gritted her teeth, as if she had made up her mind, and continued, "And I can do anything for you. No matter how excessive your request is, I have no problem. You can even order me around like a maid. You may have a beautiful woman like me around you, but a beautiful maid like me, you shouldn't have, right? As long as you nod your head now, you can have one right away." Wang Haoran, out of a man's habit, couldn't help but be moved a little. To be honest, this proposal was indeed very tempting. Although Yuning was a maid, she was only a supporting female lead. Feng Anna was different. She was the female lead. The female lead turned into a maid, let her serve tea, pour water, wash clothes, and massage back. What kind of experience would it be? And more importantly, Feng Anna was born in a good family. She was the noble daughter of the Feng family in Hong Kong Island, a goddess in the eyes of ordinary people. "If you don't speak, can I take it as a yes?" Feng Anna suddenly said. "I'll give you another reason to help you." Wang Haoran was moved, but he still felt that this was too easy for Feng Anna. Because Feng Anna had schemed against him before, and she was just trying to survive, so she didn't really mean it. After all, Feng Anna's favorability was still negative. These words put Feng Anna in a dilemma. At present, she could only move people with the two conditions, she said. How could there be other conditions? "Look at this. There's nothing else. Then I wish you good luck." Wang Haoran was ready to leave. Wait a minute. Feng Anna's mind turned sharply, and she suddenly thought of something and said, I can help you deal with Yin Tian." Wang Haoran stopped in his tracks and was surprised. Feng Anna said, "Actually, when you came to see me, you might have the idea of scheming against me, and the reason should be because of Yin Tian. You have a grudge against Yin Tian, so you want to scheme against his fiancée and use it to attack him. Am I right? So what if I am?" Wang Haoran didn't deny it. "I can help you deal with Yin Tian," Feng Anna said. "You are worthless in her eyes." Wang Haoran curled his lips. "I know," Feng Anna nodded, "but I'm not the only fiancé of Yin Tian. There are others. I know one of them very well, so well that I can easily gain her trust, and, to a certain extent, I can influence her thoughts. You will use me to deal with Yin Tian, and you must be very happy to use Yin Tian's other fiancé to deal with him." Wang Haoran pondered for a moment. The first two conditions of Feng Anna were not enough for him to help, but the third condition really made him want to help. However, Feng Anna's negative favorability towards him made him feel a little uncomfortable. He said, "I don't believe in your loyalty." Feng Anna said, "I can prove it." "How do you prove it?" "Dig out your own heart." "Good suggestion." Feng Anna glanced around the room, walked to the table, picked up the fruit knife on the fruit plate, and came to Wang Haoran again, pointing the fruit knife at her heart. "You dare to do that if you don't believe it." Wang Haoran curled his lips. Feng Anna held the handle of the fruit knife with both hands, took a deep breath, and then suddenly pushed at her heart. Wang Haoran was shocked and immediately grabbed her wrist. A trace of blood seeped out from Feng Anna's clothes at her heart. Ding! The female lead Feng Anna's favorability of the host has increased by 40. The current favorability is 20 friendly. Ding! The host has influenced the direction of the plot, gained 1,000 villain points. Sure enough, you don't want me to die. It seems that you agree with me? Feng Anna furrowed her brows because of the wound on her chest, but there was a happy smile on her face. Chapter 336. Wang Howren squinted his eyes as he looked at the blood seeping out of Feng Anna's clothes. If he had been a little later, Feng Anna would have been dead. However, Feng Anna was sure that he would make a move. This woman was really scheming, and she was also very bold. However, it was useless in front of absolute power. I know you're afraid of Yin Yin Tian and his martial arts, but in fact, you should be more afraid of me, Wang Howren said meaningfully as he let go of Feng Anna's saber. I'll be your maid from now on. Of course, I should be afraid of you and respect you, Feng Anna said flatteringly. In her opinion, Wang Howren must be someone from a secluded Jianghu since he had a grudge against Yin Yin Tian, and his identity was most likely the young master of sect. However, Feng Anna felt that there was still a gap between him and Yin Yin Tian. After all, Wang Howren was secretly dealing with Yin Yin Tian and did not confront him directly. Therefore, Feng Anna judged that Wang Howren was at least a little weaker than Yin Yin Tian in terms of martial arts and sect background. Of course, she did not dare to say this out loud. You won't feel wronged as a maid. At least, other than me, no one in the world can kill you. Wang Howren knew that Feng Anna respected him more or less, so he warned her. Feng Anna smiled happily at Wang Howren's words, but she felt that Wang Howren was bragging. Although Feng Anna was not from a secluded Jianghu, she knew a lot about the secluded Jianghu from Zhongli. It was said that there was a hidden dragon and young phoenix list in the secluded Jianghu. Those who were on the list were all martial arts geniuses under 25 years old. Looking at the top 10 of the list, there was no one called Wang Howren. And even if he was on the list, he was far inferior to Yin Yin Tian. Because Feng Anna learned from An Zhong, who was also a martial arts practitioner, that Yin Yin Tian was more powerful than Jiang Gaoxian, who ranked first on the Hidden Dragon and Young Phoenix list. Wang Howren was not even on the Hidden Dragon and Young Phoenix list. He was far inferior to Yin Yin Tian. And just as Feng Anna was thinking about this, Zhongli pushed the door open and entered. She saw the dark red seeping out of Feng Anna's chest. Zhongli subconsciously thought that Wang Howren had hurt her. In a moment of desperation, he immediately channeled his true qi and threw a palm strike at Wang Howren. However, when Zhongli was half a meter away from Wang Howren, she was blocked by a steel-like air wall and could not move forward at all. Do you want to die? Wang Howren was slightly angered. When they first met, Zhongli had been arrogant because of her martial prowess. At that time, there were people around, and Wang Howren did not want to make a move in front of others. At this time, there were no onlookers around except for Feng Anna. Wang Howren naturally didn't need to worry about anything. As the slightly angry voice sounded, the air wall trembled. It was as if Zhongli had been hit by a speeding truck. Her body was like a kite with a broken string, and the thick, reinforced concrete wall was deeply dented. Zhongli spat out a mouthful of blood. She felt as if her body was about to fall apart. She looked at Wang Howren in horror and said, "Grandmaster, Great Grandmaster, you're a neutralizing Jing Grandmaster." Feng Anna anxiously came to Zhongli's side, wanted to check on her. However, when she heard Zhongli's words, an extremely shocked expression appeared on her face. She had heard Zhongli talk about the ranks of martial artists before, so she knew what it meant to be a neutralizing grandmaster. However, martial artists of this rank were usually older. However, Wang Howren in front of her was not even 20 years old, right? He was a neutralizing grandmaster at such a young age. Before this, Feng Anna had only thought that Yin Yin Tian was the top martial artist of the younger generation. However, compared to Wang Howren, Yin Yin Tian was not even close to carrying Wang Howren's shoes. However, shock aside, Feng Anna looked at Zhongli in a panic and asked with concern, "An Zhong, are you okay?" I won't die." Zhongli shook her head with difficulty. A martial artist's body was strong to begin with, and with the protection of true qi, this injury was not fatal. Hearing Zhongli's answer, Feng Anna calmed down a little. However, she soon panicked again. She looked at Wang Howren and begged, "Please, I beg you, please don't kill Aunt Zhong. I'll apologize to her on your behalf." "Anna, there's no need to beg. A grandmaster is not to be humiliated. I offended her first. Even if I die, it's my own fault, Zhongli said sadly. Feng Anna trembled when she heard that. Although Zhongli was a bodyguard, in Feng Anna's heart, she was more important than any other member of the Feng family. She had already lost her family, and she did not want to lose Zhongli as well. Master, I beg you, please don't kill Aunt Zhong. As long as you spare her, I'll do anything to repay you. I beg you, master. Feng Anna was so anxious that she kept kowtowing in Wang Haoran's direction. Soon, her forehead was red and swollen. Seeing this scene, Wang Haoran was a little confused. To be honest, he had never heard of a grandmaster is not to be humiliated. He did not have this concept at all. After shaking off Zhongli, he did not plan to continue to kill her. Firstly, he was not the protagonist. With the protagonist's halo protecting him, he could get away with killing someone openly. Secondly, as a villain, he had the villain's halo. If he secretly did something bad, he might be discovered, and he would be in trouble, not to mention killing someone openly. While Feng Anna was begging, seeing that Wang Haoran did not answer, she crawled over to Wang Haoran's feet and continued to beg him to let Zhongli go. Get up, I won't kill her. Wang Haoran saw that she was crying pitifully, and he did not want to kill Zhongli, so he said. Feng Anna did not expect that Wang Haoran would let Zhongli go so easily. She was stunned for a moment, then she said excitedly, Thank you, master. This sentence was from the bottom of Feng Anna's heart, and Wang Haoran's heart was filled with gratitude. He had to admit that it was quite satisfying to hear it. At the same time, ding, the female protagonist Feng Anna's favorability to the host has increased by 20. The current total favorability is 40, very friendly. Ding, the host has influenced the plot and gained 2,000 villain points. Receiving the prompt message from the system, Wang Haoran was secretly happy. However, on the surface, he still maintained a cold expression. Wang Haoran originally came over just to laugh at Feng Anna. Now things had developed like this, which was somewhat beyond his expectations. However, this result was quite good for him. After the matter here was settled, Wang Haoran did not stay. After seeing Wang Haoran leave, Feng Anna's tense nerves slowly relaxed. Then she helped Zhongli up and called the hospital. While waiting, Zhongli asked what had happened when she left. Feng Anna told him everything in detail. When Zhongli heard that the high and mighty Feng Anna had become someone's maid, she was subconsciously angry, but then she looked at it and said, Anna, becoming the maid of a Huajin great-grandmaster is not too humiliating for you. It's just that you haven't suffered before, and I'm worried that you won't be able to bear it. It's already a great fortune that I'm still alive. I will do my best to be a maid. I hope you will treat me well, Feng Anna said faintly. Chapter 337. After Wang Haoran left Feng Anna and Zhongli's field of vision, he began to think about how to deal with Yin Yuntian. For now, he still didn't want to confront Yin Yuntian head-on. Because he was afraid of a head-on conflict with Yin Yuntian, his temper would come up and he would fight with Yin Yuntian. He gambled on Yin Yuntian's fatal damage bouncing aura and the 20% chance of not triggering. If he really did that, the possibility of him being dead was much higher than Yin Yuntian. In order to avoid this situation, Wang Haoran could only think of other ways. Soon, he thought of a person. He took out his mobile phone and dialed a number. In a big house, Yin Yuntian, who had locked himself in the room, came out again. It was really uncomfortable to be put on a hat by his fiancée. However, in the past 2 days, Yin Yuntian's mood had calmed down a lot. However, he didn't intend to let go of Feng Anna and Feng Anna's lover. Today was the deadline for Feng Anna. He wanted to know Feng Anna's movements. If Feng Anna didn't do it, then he could only choose to do it himself. As the thought rose, Yuning came back from the outside. Yuning's role in the big house was the housekeeper. There were other people in the big house to take care of Yin Yuntian. In the past 2 days, Yin Yuntian asked Yuning to track down the news of Feng Anna's lover. Now that she came back, there must be news. Yin Yuntian immediately asked, Did you find the person? Found it. Yuning nodded, but there was hesitation on her face, and she didn't immediately say who the person was. Who is it? Hurry up. Who is Feng Anna's lover? Yin Yuntian asked anxiously. Actually, it's not a lover, it's just a coincidence, and the number of people is not small. I found as many as 20 people, and I don't know how many I didn't find. Yu Ning reported. Ding, the host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the protagonist Yin Yuntian's mentality to be damaged, gained 1,000 villain points. I found two more than 20. I don't know how many I didn't find. Yin Yuntian was shocked and stunned. It turned out that he was not wearing one hat, but more than 20 hats, or even more hats. For a moment, Yin Yuntian felt that his head was very heavy. Looking at Yin Yuntian's expression, Yu Ning secretly smiled, but her face was serious as she asked, "What should we do now? There are so many of them. If we kill them all, the impact will be huge." Forget it. Yin Yuntian was also afraid that they would make too much noise, so he could only let the 20 or so people go. However, his anger towards Feng Anna only grew. Go and keep an eye on Feng Anna. If she doesn't kill herself before dark, catch her and bring her here. I will make her regret being born into this world. Yu Ning nodded and left Yin Yuntian's field of vision, but a few minutes later, she turned back. What now? Yin Yuntian frowned. Before Yu Ning could answer, a beautiful figure quietly came over. It was the peerlessly beautiful Feng Xuansu. I know everything about Feng Anna. Feng Xuansu went straight to the point. Yin Yuntian looked embarrassed. I didn't expect Feng Anna to be such a woman. I made a fool of myself. I'm not here to laugh at you, but to ask you to spare Feng Anna, Feng Xuansu said. Aunt, as a man, do you think I can tolerate this? Yin Yuntian said unhappily. Why can't you tolerate it? She's just your fiancée, not your wife, Feng Xuansu said. Even if she's my fiancée, she betrayed me by doing such a thing. I can't spare her. Yin Yuntian gritted his teeth and said. Feng Xuansu continued to explain. Feng Anna isn't the only fiancée you have. Feng Anna doesn't want to marry you, so it's not unforgivable for her to do something bad. Yin Yuntian couldn't help but be confused when he heard Feng Xuansu's protective tone. Aunt, you don't seem to have anything to do with Feng Anna. Why are you suddenly speaking for her? A strange light flashed in Feng Xuansu's eyes. She remained calm and explained, as a woman, I'm just speaking for her. Speak up for her. What about my justice? I've been accused. Do you want me to be a coward and swallow my anger? Yin Yuntian asked unhappily. Seeing Yin Yuntian being so stubborn, Feng Xuansu lost her patience and her tone became colder. You have so many fiancés. What does it matter if you have one less? Not many people know about Feng Anna. You can break off the engagement with Feng Anna peacefully. Just pretend that nothing happened. Yin Yuntian's attitude was firm. I can listen to you on other things, but not on this. Feng Xuansu also didn't give in and scolded. I'll protect Feng Anna. If you touch her, don't blame me for being ruthless. Seeing Feng Xuansu's firm tone, Yin Yuntian couldn't help but be stunned. He thought that after his attitude, his aunt would take a step back and not interfere in this matter. Unexpectedly, not only did his aunt stop, her attitude became even more firm. Yin Yuntian's expression kept changing. After weighing the pros and cons, he finally sighed dejectedly. Feng Xuansu's status in Fengxi Mountain was very high. Yin Yuntian couldn't do anything to her. Moreover, he didn't want to fall out with Feng Xuansu. Yin Yuntian could only suppress the thought of taking revenge on Feng Anna. However, he was curious about Feng Xuansu's motive. He asked, Aunt, can you tell me why you're so protective of Feng Anna? As a woman, I just want to give her justice. Feng Xuansu repeated the reason just now. Of course, Yin Yuntian didn't believe it. However, Feng Xuansu obviously didn't want to say it, so Yin Yuntian couldn't force her. He could only keep his doubts in his heart. I won't disturb you. Feng Xuansu said goodbye. Miss Xuansu, I'll see you out. Yu Ning followed respectfully and sent Feng Xuansu out of the mansion. After Feng Xuansu left Yu Ning's sight, she took out her phone and dialed a number. Fu, Howren, I've done what you asked me to do. Yin Yuntian promised not to pursue Feng Anna. Yes, thank you. Wang Howren said on the phone. You're still so polite with me? Feng Xuansu couldn't help but feels shy and quickly corrected herself. I'll treat you to a meal when I'm free. Wang Haoran pretended not to notice Feng Xuanzu's slip of the tongue and changed the topic. I'm free right now. Feng Xuanzu's face was filled with joy as she quickly said, I have classes in the afternoon. Another day. Oh, okay then. Remember to ask me out when you're free. Sure, sure. After that, Wang Haoran hung up the phone and left his mansion. It was the afternoon. He had classes in the afternoon, so he walked to the Qingling campus. When he came to the road leading to the campus, he saw a crowd gathering on the road and talking. Hey, someone was in a car accident. The location is Ji Shuiyao, who was in the crowd, called the emergency number calmly. However, her face was pale as a sheet due to panic. Not far in front of her, a young man was lying on the ground, covered in blood and barely breathing. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have picked a female driver to scam. Lu Chun, who was lying on the ground, still had some consciousness left. At this moment, endless regret rose in his heart. His grandfather was sick and hospitalized. He had no money for treatment. In desperation, he thought of scamming people to earn some medical fees. However, he didn't expect to meet a newbie female driver who saw him suddenly appear in front of her car. She must have mistaken the gas pedal for the brake and sent him flying. Amidst this regret, Lu Chen's consciousness gradually blurred. I'm the ancient celestial doctor of Taiji. From now on, you're my successor. After receiving my inheritance, you'll need to practice medicine to save people from danger. Just before he lost consciousness, a jade pendant in the shape of a Taiji yin-yang fish with blood on it shone with an imperceptible light. At the same time, some voices rang in his mind. Chapter 338. When these voices rang in his mind, Lu Chen's blurry consciousness gradually cleared up. Moreover, he could clearly feel that there was a warm flow of air in his chest, alleviating the tearing pain caused by the violent impact. When the warm feeling dissipated, Lu Chen felt that the pain in his body had completely dissipated, and his mind had returned to normal. What's going on? Is it because of the jade pendant on my body? Lu Chen was stunned, and then subconsciously touched the pendant in the shape of the Tai Chi yin-yang fish on his chest. In his daze, he thought that the voice in his mind was an illusion, but now it seemed that it was not. Moreover, as the voice rang out, some information was transmitted to his mind. He checked it and quickly found that it was medical knowledge, very advanced medical knowledge. However, this medical knowledge was vast. It would take a lot of time to completely transmit it to his memory. Could it be that I've profited from a disaster and obtained the immortal doctor's inheritance? After Lu Chen sorted out his thoughts, he immediately noticed something. The jade pendant on his body was passed down from his ancestors. According to his grandfather, there was a miracle doctor in his ancestors. Lu Chen did not believe it before, but now he had to believe it. Isn't that Lu Chen from the medical school? How pitiful. He was sent flying so far. I don't think he can be saved. The one who hit him is the goddess of marine biology, Professor Ji, right? Looks like she's in big trouble. It's all Lu Chen's fault. He didn't look where he was going and suddenly rushed out. He's really hurting himself and others. Most of the people around were students from Qingling University. When they saw this scene, they could not help but discuss it. Just as everyone was discussing, Lu Chen suddenly stood up from the ground. The surrounding people's discussion stopped abruptly, and their faces were filled with shock. They saw Lu Chen moving his arms and twisting his body, as if nothing had happened. Everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. He was sent flying a few feet, and he was fine. Ji Shuiyao hurried forward and asked anxiously, I heard from the people around that you're Lu Chen from the medical school, right? Lu Chen, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Looking at the goddess professor in front of him, Lu Chen could not help but feel excited. He was a student of Qingling University's medical school, so he naturally knew Ji Shuiyao. Just now, in a daze, he only saw a female driver. He didn't expect it to be this goddess professor. Goddess Ji, I'm very. Lu Chen's face was full of smiles. He was just about to reply that he was fine when he suddenly remembered his real motive for scamming GCI. Thus, he immediately changed his words. Do I look like I'm fine? As he spoke, He pointed at the bloodstains on his body. But I think you... Ji Shuiyao was surprised, because his voice was energetic and he was standing upright as if nothing had happened. I look fine, but I feel a lot of pain inside my body. I might have injured my internal organs. Lu Chun reacted and immediately pretended to be in pain. Then don't move. I've already called an ambulance, Ji Shuiyao said. Lu Chun knew that he was fine. Going to the hospital for a checkup was just a waste of time. After thinking for a while, he stopped pretending and returned to normal. He continued, "That's right. My grandfather is undergoing surgery at Qingling University's affiliated hospital. I have to rush over immediately. Why don't you compensate me with some money first, and then we can discuss how to settle this matter later. Are you sure you can rush over in your condition?" Ji Shuiyao was a little worried. "No problem," Lu Chun said with certainty. Seeing that he seemed to be fine, Ji Shuiyao didn't insist. She took out all the cash from her bag. "I only have 10,000 yuan on me. Take this first." As she spoke, Ji Shuiyao took out her business card and handed it to Lu Chun. "If there's anything, you can contact me at any time. As for the compensation, we can discuss it." Lu Chun took the money and business card without hesitation. At the same time, he sized up this goddess professor and thought to himself, just compensating with money is far from enough. It's more like compensating me with you. In the past, he was a fishing student with no money or background. He only dared to look at a goddess professor like Ji Shuiyao from afar. But now it was different. He had received the inheritance of his ancestors. It was only a matter of time before he became rich. With a different mentality, his pursuits were naturally different. After successfully scamming this goddess professor and getting involved with her, he had to take this opportunity to do something. Just thinking about getting his hands on the goddess professor in the hearts of the students made his blood boil. However, when he remembered that his grandfather was still in the hospital waiting for help, Lu Chun didn't dare to stay any longer. He put away his desire, pushed through the crowd, and jogged away. When he walked out of the crowd, he almost bumped into someone. This person was a popular figure among the freshmen. He was a super-rich second-generation heir. He was good in his studies and was handsome. He was recognized as the school hunk. Although Lu Chun was a second-year student, he knew this person. He knew that his name was Wang Haoran. However, when Lu Chun saw the person in front of him, a strong sense of disgust arose in his heart. He heard that this Wang Haoran was in the same school as the three campus beauties of the first year, Qin Yunhan, Su Muyan, and Mu Zhaozhao. They seemed to have a good relationship and often ate together. Lu Chun had seen them by chance once. At that time, he was so envious that he wished he was the one eating with the campus beauties. But now, Lu Chun was no longer envious. Now that he had inherited the medical skills of his ancestors, it was like a carp leaping through the dragon's gate. In his eyes, the rich second-generation heir was just bullsh asterisk T. After all, no matter how rich you were, how could you not get sick? While thinking, Lu Chun didn't stop. He ran straight to Qingling affiliated hospital. Wang Haoran looked at the bloody person running past and was slightly surprised. However, he didn't think much of it. After all, he was just passing by. He didn't even have the intention to watch the show. However, just as he was about to leave, he saw the crowd gradually disperse. Among the crowd, Ji Shuiyao's outstanding figure appeared in Wang Haoran's field of vision. He saw Ji Shuiyao leaning against the car with a look of lingering fear on her face. Wang Haoran walked toward her and asked in surprise, "Professor Ji, were you the one who hit someone?" "Haoran." Ji Shuiyao saw the person she had been thinking about suddenly appear in front of her. She couldn't help but smile and greet him. Then she replied, "Yeah, I just got my driver's license. I didn't expect to hit someone, but it's strange. That person was knocked 7 or 8 meters away. Although he was covered in blood, he didn't seem to be seriously injured." He walked away on his own. Chapter 339. Hearing Ji Shuiyao's words, Wang Haoran's heart skipped a beat. He subconsciously looked in the direction that the strange figure had disappeared in. A normal person was knocked 7 or 8 meters away. Not only did he not die, but he was also able to run away as if nothing had happened. This was too illogical. Ji Shuiyao was the female lead. If something big happened to her, it was very likely to trigger a storyline. Combining these 2 points, the person who was knocked down by Ji Shuiyao was most likely the main character. While Wang Haoren was thinking, the paramedics and traffic control personnel came over. After explaining the situation, Ji Shuiyao asked the paramedics to leave. Then, she cooperated with the traffic control personnel and recorded the incident. After doing this, Ji Shuiyao was still a little worried. She wanted to go to Qingling Hospital, because just now, she heard Lu Chan say that he wanted to go to Qingling Hospital. Haoren, class is about to start. You go to class by yourself. I'll go to the hospital to see Lu Chan, Ji Shuiyao said. I'll go with you, Wang Haoren suggested. Class is more important. How can you delay your classes? Ji Shuiyao didn't want to trouble him. Class is not as important as you. Of course, I have to accompany you to see what happened to you. Wang Haoren said sweet words, as if he was used to it. Hearing this, Ji Shuiyao was secretly happy. However, on the surface, she kept a distance. Don't talk nonsense. If seventh sister finds out, it won't be good. Wang Haoren continued. It's because of my relationship with Wei Wei that I treat you as sixth sister. How can I do nothing when something happens to you? Let me go with you. Moreover, do you think those classes are useful to me? Ji Shuiyao was secretly disappointed when she heard the first half of his words. Then, she quickly agreed. Then you can come with me. She knew that Wang Haoren's knowledge in the field of science was much better than hers. Moreover, she also found out from Wu Yue, Lu Yu, that Wang Haoren was very talented in finance. Even Wu Yue admired him. The courses in the finance department were naturally not important to Wang Haoren. It did not affect his studies at all. More importantly, she wanted to interact more with Wang Haoren. However, due to his guilt towards seventh sister, he did not dare to make it too obvious. Do you want to drive? Or do you want me to drive? Seeing that Ji Shuiyao didn't go to the driver's seat after agreeing, he asked. It's better if you do it. Ji Shuiyao was a newbie in the first place. After what had happened just now, she was naturally a little traumatized. Wang Haoren nodded and drove Ji Shuiyao to the affiliated hospital. The affiliated hospital was not far from Qingling University. It was less than a 10-minute drive. Wang Haoren parked the car and got off with Ji Shuiyao. They walked toward the hospital building. There were many professors from Qingling Medical College in the affiliated hospital. Ji Shuiyao was also a professor, so she naturally had some interactions with them. She knew that Lu Chan was a medical student. Using the hospital's connections, she used this information to find out which ward Lu Chen's grandfather was staying in. After successfully obtaining the information, Ji Shuiyao and Wang Haoren went to the inpatient ward. However, just as they entered the building, Ji Shuiyao suddenly clutched her lower abdomen and frowned as if she was enduring some kind of pain. What's wrong? Are you not feeling well? Sensing Ji Shuiyao's abnormality, Wang Haoren hurriedly asked. I'm fine. Ji Shuiyao was a little embarrassed. She endured the pain and shook her head. What's wrong? Are you still not going to tell me the truth? Wang Haoren saw that she seemed to be hiding something, so he frowned and asked. Ji Shuiyao was afraid that he would be unhappy, so she moved her rosy lips close to Wang Haoren's ear and whispered. When Wang Haoren heard this, he finally understood. Ji Shuiyao was in pain because of the visit of her relatives. After Ji Shuiyao finished speaking, her furrowed brows gradually relaxed. I probably drank some iced drinks yesterday. I'm fine now, Ji Shuiyao explained. Hearing this, Wang Haoren felt that things weren't that simple. Lu Chan was a medical student, so there was a certain possibility that he was the main character. When a main character and the main character were about to meet, their bodies suddenly felt uncomfortable. Then, the familiar pattern came again. You're fine now, but that doesn't mean you'll be fine later. Let me treat you. Wang Haoren didn't want to sit by and watch this happen, so he said to Ji Shuiyao, You know how to treat pain, this kind of illness? Ji Shuiyao was shocked. I read it in a book. It should be useful, Wang Haoren casually explained. Although he wasn't proficient in medicine, because of the supreme poison scripture, he understood the structure of the human body very well. To a certain extent, he could be considered an expert in medicine. Ji Shuiyao's illness wasn't a big problem. He just had to use his true qi to help her recuperate. Will this work? Ji Shueiyao felt that it was a little unreliable. Give it a try. Seeing you in so much pain makes my heart ache. Wang Haoran's old illness acted up again. Hearing this, Ji Shueiyao's heart was as sweet as honey. How could she object? She immediately nodded in agreement, even if she was being used as a lab rat. Wang Haoran brought Ji Shueiyao to an empty ward. After a while, ding! The host intercepted the main character Lu Chun and treated the main character Ji Shueiyao's illness. Received 1,000 villain points. Lu Chun's protagonist aura -50. Host's villain aura +50. Ji Shueiyao only felt that the part of her body that was uncomfortable before had become warm, and there was an indescribable comfort. You're pretty good. You know how to treat this kind of illness just by reading a book. Ji Shueiyao praised. Then, she couldn't help but recall the scene during the treatment. She subconsciously blushed. Don't tell anyone about this. Wang Haoran whispered. Yes, I know. I won't tell seventh sister. This is our secret. Ji Shueiyao understood and nodded solemnly. After thinking for a while, she suddenly added another sentence. After thinking for a while, she added, if I have this kind of discomfort in the future, I'll ask you to treat me again. I've already treated the root of the problem. This kind of situation won't happen again. Wang Haoran felt that his skills were being questioned, so he subconsciously said, Ji Shueiyao's face was filled with disappointment. Seeing this, Wang Haoran understood tacitly and suddenly said, but it's hard to say. There's also the possibility of a relapse. Really? That's great. Ji Shueiyao was overjoyed, but the moment she said this, she realized that she had lost her composure. She couldn't help but blush. Wang Haoran smiled, but didn't say anything. He pretended that he didn't know what Ji Shueiyao was thinking. Ji Shueiyao's awkwardness lessened a little. She quickly adjusted her emotions and turned around. She tidied up her clothes and turned around. Let's go. Wang Haoran and Ji Shueiyao walked out of the room. Professor Ji, what are you doing inside with this person? Lu Chun, who was passing by the door, saw the two coming out and asked in shock. Chapter 340. When Ji Shueiyao heard the question, she panicked for a moment. However, as a scientist, her mental fortitude was still very good. She quickly calmed down and said yes. We were just talking about something. He gave a perfunctory explanation and changed the topic. How are you? Are you okay? Ji Shueiyao worked with the traffic control and spent a lot of time. During this time, Lu Chun had been busy with many things. He had changed out of his bloodstained clothes and looked no different from an ordinary person. I've gone for a checkup. I'm fine for now. Lu Chun shook his head, but he quickly felt that if he solved this easily, he would have less contact with Ji Shueiyao. But the doctor asked me to do a checkup later so that I can make a detailed judgment. Ji Shueiyao nodded. Wang Haoran immediately contacted the system to check Lu Chun after he found out that Ji Shueiyao had bumped into Lu Chun. Protagonist, Lu Chun, combat strength, 96, charm, 67, protagonist aura, 30/26, rising, skill golden finger tai, chi yin yang jade. The jade contains the ancient divine doctor's inheritance and automatically generates the breath of life and death at regular intervals. The ancient divine doctor's inheritance includes medical skills, martial arts, spells, immortal cultivation, and more. Current inheritance progress, 10%, ancient medical skills. The breath of life can be used to treat all kinds of difficult diseases. The breath of death can cause serious diseases. Wang Haoran couldn't help but gasp when he received Lu Chun's information. He thought that Lu Chun was just a pure miracle doctor. He didn't expect him to receive the ancient divine doctor's inheritance. The inheritance even included immortal cultivation skills. Damn it! Luckily, he found out early. So far, Lu Chun had only received the medical skills inheritance. The 3,000 Halo points were much lower than Yan Yuntian's. However, there was a note behind Lu Chun's Halo that said, Rising. It meant that when Lu Chun fully received the inheritance, his protagonist aura would definitely surpass Yan Yuntian's. Wang Haoran naturally wouldn't let this happen. He hadn't used the cloud searching hand since he stole Su Lang's card. Now, he had the chance to use it again. Professor Ji, What were you guys talking about? Why are you hiding inside and chatting so mysteriously? Lu Chen brought up the previous topic and asked Ji Shuiyao. Hearing Lu Chen's question, Ji Shuiyao averted her gaze, not knowing how to answer. Wang Haoran said, "What does what we do inside have to do with you? Is it any of your business?" Lu Chen saw Ji Shuiyao's evasive gaze and then looked at the rich second generation, who was obviously not a good person. He suddenly thought of something and said to Ji Shuiyao, in surprise, "Professor Ji, did he offend you?" Hearing the word offend, Ji Shuiyao felt shy and avoided answering. Seeing this, Lu Chen was even more convinced of his guess. His face paled a little as he continued. "Professor Ji, why aren't you saying anything? Are you being coerced? Don't be afraid. You must have the courage to fight against the bad guys. If you swallow your anger, you'll only encourage the bad guys." Wang Haoran was speechless when he heard that. As expected of the protagonist's thoughts, they had just met, and there was no concrete evidence, yet they had already labeled him as a bad guy. Although this is also the truth, you should at least be reasonable. Seeing Lu Chen so agitated, Ji Shuiyao felt that he was being a busybody. However, considering her identity, she didn't show it on her face. "Student, you're overthinking. There's no such thing." Lu Chen didn't believe her and thought that Wang Haoran had something on Ji Shuiyao. He temporarily suppressed his thoughts and didn't continue to ask Ji Shuiyao. "You said that your grandfather was going to undergo surgery. How is it now?" Ji Shuiyao asked Lu Chen as a teacher. "He's fine now," Lu Chen replied. Originally, his grandfather was going to undergo surgery, but Lu Chen accidentally discovered the magical effect of the Taiyang Yin-Yang Jade and used the breath of life to cure his grandfather. "Where's the ward? Take me there." Since she was already here, Ji Shuiyao didn't mind making an extra trip. "Follow me." Lu Chen led the way in front. "I'm going to the washroom." Wang Haoran didn't follow and said to Ji Shuiyao. After arriving at the washroom, Wang Haoran took out the Taiyang Yin-Yang Jade that he stole from Lu Chen with the flying dragon cloud searching hand. Looking at the ancient jade in his hand, he couldn't help but feel a little excited. There were many inheritances in this thing, including immortal cultivation techniques. If he could get it, wouldn't his cultivation soar? Wang Haoran fiddled with it, but after a while, he still couldn't figure out why. It seems that this jade has already recognized its owner. "It's useless to me." Wang Haoran had seen many tricks and immediately figured out the reason. Naturally, he wouldn't keep something that was useless. In order to prevent it from falling into Lu Chen's hands, he opened the toilet and was about to flush the jade down the drain. However, at this moment, the jade seemed to have sensed something and resisted. Wang Haoran immediately felt an inexplicable pain in his head. He wanted to shake off the jade in his hand, but found that the jade was sucking on his palm. He couldn't shake it off. Ding! The remnant thoughts in the jade are madly attacking the host's will. In 30 seconds, the host will become an idiot. Ding! It's detected that the host has sufficient villain points. The host can choose to spend 30,000 villain points to purchase the intermediate soul attack immunity halo in the mall. It was a good habit to keep some points. Wang Haoran secretly gave himself a thumbs up. He immediately communicated with the system in exchange for the intermediate soul attack immunity halo. In the next moment, the discomfort in his mind disappeared. The jade in his hand returned to normal. However, Wang Haoran couldn't calm down at all. More than 90,000 villain points had become more than 60,000. It had shrunk by 30,000 villain points. How could he be calm? Wang Haoran vented his anger. He channeled all his true chi and smashed the Taiyang Yin-Yang Jade. After dozens of smashes, the jade was smashed into pieces. Then, he picked it up and threw it into the toilet. He pressed the flush button, and the broken jade was sucked into the drain. Ding! The host destroyed the Taiyang Yin-Yang Jade of the protagonist Lu Chen. The reward is 6,000 villain points. Lu Chen's protagonist aura minus 300. The host's villain aura plus 300. After receiving the reward message, Wang Haoran's anger still couldn't be quelled. Lu Chen had only received the inheritance of the ancient medical skills. Without the Taiyang Yin-Yang Jade, he couldn't receive the rest of the inheritance. Lu Chen's protagonist aura of more than 3,000 points also stopped and couldn't continue to increase. Wang Haoran could choose to send Lu Chen to heaven. However, this was too easy for Lu Chen. After spending 30,000 villain points, he only got 6,000 back. He still needed more than 20,000. This loss had to be squeezed out from Lu Chen. Chapter 341. Ji Shuiyao came to the ward to visit Lu Chen's grandfather, who was in deep sleep. Professor Ji, there are no outsiders now. You can tell me the truth. Did Wang Haoran threaten you with something? Did he threaten you with something? Lu Chen asked with concern. Classmate, you're overthinking it. He really didn't. Ji Shuiyao was very annoyed, but she still maintained her manners as a teacher. Don't be afraid. I can help you. Trust me. From the bottom of his heart, Lu Chen felt that Wang Haoran was a bad person. As a goddess professor, Ji Shuiyao shouldn't have had dealings with such a person. Now that she was involved, Ji Shuiyao must have been coerced. If he helped Ji Shuiyao solve this problem, he would definitely earn her gratitude. With this gratitude, he could interact with her more. Then it wouldn't be difficult to win her heart. You'll be helping me if you don't do anything. Seeing Lu Chen's insistence, Ji Shuiyao had to say it again seriously. Hearing this, Lu Chen was stunned. He didn't continue asking, but his thoughts didn't change. He thought that Ji Shuiyao thought that he was a poor student, so he couldn't help her. Naturally, she didn't want him to get involved. It seemed that he could only do it secretly. Lu Chen made up his mind. His Tai Chi Yang Jade had the breath of life and death. He had used it temporarily to heal himself and his grandfather. It needed time to recover. On the other hand, he hadn't used the breath of death yet. If he used the breath of death to deal with Wang Haoran, he could make him seriously ill without anyone knowing. Although this method was a little extreme, Lu Chen couldn't care less. After all, this Wang Haoran was a bad person at first glance. The kind that did all kinds of bad things. When Lu Chen saw him, he had the urge to get rid of him. When Wang Haoran died of his illness, he wouldn't bother Professor Ji anymore. By then, Professor Ji would be grateful and would probably fall in love with him. Thinking of this, Lu Chen couldn't help but smile. At this moment, Wang Haoran came to the ward. He glanced around, and his gaze fell on Lu Chen. At this moment, he really had the urge to send Lu Chen to heaven with a punch. But in order to earn back the villain points, he endured it for a while. When Lu Chen saw Wang Haoran appear, he also looked at him. However, he concealed his disgust and said with some enthusiasm, Come, have a seat. Thank you for coming to see my grandfather. Wang Haoran was surprised by Lu Chen's change in attitude. He could naturally guess that this guy was pretending, but he didn't point it out. You're welcome. Then, he asked indirectly, Are you the only one taking care of your grandfather? Do you have other family members? My parents passed away a long time ago. I only have 2 relatives now. One is my grandfather, and the other is my younger sister. Lu Chen wanted to use this opportunity to harm others, so he naturally maintained a friendly relationship with Wang Haoran on the surface and answered truthfully. Isn't your sister beautiful? Wang Haoran couldn't help but ask. Yeah. Lu Chen was a little displeased. This rich second-generation heir was asking about his sister. Could it be that he was interested in her? Then, is your sister not related to you by blood? Wang Haoran asked again. How did you know? Lu Chen was shocked. I've seen this too many times. Of course I know, Wang Haoran said in his heart, but he explained, You said your sister was beautiful, so I guess that she wasn't related to you by blood. Lu Chen was so angry that he secretly gritted his teeth. Does this mean that I'm ugly? By the way, what's your sister's age? Is she 18 years old? Wang Haoran asked again. She's 19 years old. She's in her first year of university. Lu Chen wanted to harm others. Even if he was unhappy, he didn't act on the spot. Beautiful, 19 years old, in her first year of university, not related to the main character by blood from this information. Wang Haoran could completely determine that Lu Chen's sister was most likely a female lead. To earn back the villain points, Lu Chen's sister was a very good breakthrough point. Of course, Lu Chen had to be targeted. If there's nothing else, why don't we go? Ji Shuiyao didn't want to stay any longer, so she said to Wang Haoran, Professor Ji, it's still early. Don't you want to stay a little longer? Before Wang Haoran could reply, Lu Chen immediately urged her stay. Wang Haoran saw Lu Chen's eagerness and knew that he had feelings for Ji Shuiyao. After thinking for a while, he suddenly said on behalf of Ji Shuiyao, "We're going to the movies together, so we won't stay any longer." "You? Going to the movies together?" Lu Chen was surprised. "Oh, look at my mouth. I'll let the cat out of the bag if I'm not careful." Wang Haoran was annoyed at himself, and then said seriously to Lu Chen, "Since you've seen through it, I won't hide it from you. Actually, Professor Ji and I are dating, but our identities are sensitive, so we haven't announced it. I hope you won't spread this." "Professor Ji, is he telling the truth?" Lu Chen asked Ji Shuiyao in disbelief. Ji Shuiyao was a little confused by Wang Haoran's words. She didn't know how to answer, but she suddenly saw Wang Haoran secretly winking at her. "Yes, we're dating." Although she didn't understand Wang Haoran's thoughts, Ji Shuiyao still cooperated. Ding! Host caused the protagonist Lu Chen to lose his mental balance. Received 1,000 villain points. Lin Chen's protagonist aura -50. Host's villain aura +50. Let's go to the movies. After the movies, we'll go to the hotel. Wang Haoran struck while the iron was hot. Ji Shuiyao's face turned red, but she couldn't expose Wang Haoran in this situation. She could only bite the bullet and say, Okay. Ding. Host caused the protagonist Lu Chen to lose his mental balance. Received 1,000 villain points. Lin Chen's protagonist aura -50. Host's villain aura +50. "By the way, did you bring that?" Wang Haoran asked. "What?" Ji Shuiyao didn't understand. "That. You didn't forget to bring it, right? You've already lost once. If you accidentally win it again, you'll be in trouble." Wang Haoran's words were shocking. This time, Ji Shuiyao finally understood what he meant. What could she do? Of course, she had to continue cooperating. "Don't worry, I brought it." The moment Ji Shuiyao said this, her face turned as red as a cooked crab. Ding! Host caused the protagonist Lu Chen to lose his mental balance. Received 2,000 villain points. Lin Chen's protagonist aura -100. Host's villain aura +100. Wang Haoran nodded with satisfaction. "Professor Ji, have you really developed to this extent?" Lu Chen's lips were pale, but there was still hope in his voice as he asked in a trembling voice. "Student, please keep a secret," Ji Shuiyao said solemnly. Hearing this, Lu Chen staggered. A sense of regret rose in his heart, but it was quickly followed by a strong sense of anger. Professor Ji must have been coerced, or else she wouldn't have done this. This rich second-generation Wang Haoran really deserved to die. Lin Chen was even more determined to harm him. Forcefully suppressing the anger on his face, Lin Chen walked in front of Wang Haoran and extended his hand, pretending to be impressed. "I really admire you. You even managed to win the heart of a goddess professor. Can you share some of your experience with me?" "I don't have much experience, but you're handsome. You could do it too." Wang Haoran smiled and shook Lin Chen's hand. Hearing this, the corner of Lin Chen's mouth twitched, but then he smiled brightly. "So what if you're handsome? Soon you'll be lying on your bed waiting for death." He sneered in his heart. He wanted to communicate with the yin-yang life and death jade and transfer all of its death aura to Wang Haoran during the handshake. However, he suddenly felt a sense of emptiness on his chest under his clothes. "Where's my jade?" Lin Chen touched his chest through his clothes. When he didn't feel anything, his eyes widened. Chapter 342. Lu Chen sensed that the jade pendant hanging in front of his chest was gone. He immediately retracted his hand that was holding Wang Haoran's hand and searched his body. He hoped that he had taken the jade pendant off and put it in his pocket or something. But when he searched his entire body until he was almost bald, he could not find any trace of the jade pendant. His face suddenly turned extremely ugly. It felt like he had suddenly won a few $100 million and then lost the voucher to redeem the prize. Wang Haoran saw this and laughed to himself. He had stolen Lu Chen's jade for a while now. During this time, Lu Chen did not even realize it, but now he did. Clearly, Lu Chen had thought of using that piece of jade just now. Wang Haoran knew the use of the jade. Lu Chen naturally would not use the jade to treat his illness, So the result was obvious. Lu Chen wanted to use the jade to harm him. The main character of this miracle doctor was really evil. Thinking of this, Wang Haoren wanted to slap Lu Chen to death again, but he thought that he had to earn back the 30,000 villain points that he spent, so he restrained himself. Let's go. Wang Haoren had done what he wanted to do so far, so he did not want to stay any longer. He grabbed Ji Shuiyao's hand and led her away. The two came to the car. Ji Shuiyao suppressed her shyness and asked curiously, "Why did you say that we are boyfriend and girlfriend? That Lu Chen looks at you strangely. He must have some thoughts about you." I'm saying this to make him give up on that thought. Wang Haoren tried to fool her with a serious face. That's it. Ji Shuiyao's face showed a hint of disappointment, but she quickly hid it. "Oh right, when you bumped into Lu Chen, what was the situation? Who's more responsible?" Seeing that Ji Shuiyao did not pursue the topic of boyfriend and girlfriend, Wang Haoren wanted to cause trouble for Lu Chen again. He suddenly rushed over, so I panicked and stepped on the gas pedal instead of the brake. "We're both responsible." Ji Shuiyao was a little embarrassed. "Do you have a recorder in your car?" Hearing Ji Shuiyao's uncertain words, Wang Haoren wanted to understand the situation himself. "Of course I have a newbie on the road." Ji Shuiyao nodded and immediately checked the recorder. She found the scene of her bumping into Lu Chen. Wang Haoren looked at it several times and found that something was wrong. This Lu Chen looks like he did it on purpose. He's a student. He would not go so far as to scam a professor. Moreover, who would risk his life? Ji Shuiyao was slightly suspicious. Firstly, Lu Chen doesn't necessarily know who's driving. He only needs to recognize the Porsche logo on your car. Secondly, no matter how smart he is, he would never think that a Porsche driver would use the gas pedal as a brake pedal. Wang Haoren analyzed. Hearing this, Ji Shuiyao felt that it made sense and nodded awkwardly. "Don't contact Lu Chen for the time being. Get the lawyer to talk to him about the car accident. He'll be fine. The front of your Porsche was smashed. We don't know who will compensate who," Wang Haoren said. "Okay, I understand." Ji Shuiyao did not object. Although she was kind, she was more rational. Scamming was too bad. It could be said that it harmed both others and oneself. Even if you were short of money, you should not use this method. If everyone in this society did this when they were short of money, wouldn't it be a mess? If they let Lu Chen off the hook, it would only encourage this kind of behavior. Lu Chen had benefited today. Who knew if he would follow suit in the future? Before this matter was settled, it was necessary to nip this bud in the bud. As they spoke, Wang Haoren and Ji Shuiyao returned to school. "I have class in the afternoon. I'll go to class first," Ji Shuiyao said. "Go ahead." Wang Haoren nodded. Ji Shuiyao turned and was about to leave. But after taking a few steps, she suddenly turned back. "If I don't feel well, you have to treat me again." Seeing that there was no one around, Ji Shuiyao quickly finished her words and ran away. Wang Haoren smiled as he watched Ji Shuiyao leave. He took out his phone and called Jiang Gaoxian. Lu Chen, the main character, was as bad as a villain. He was on par with him. Wang Haoren really wanted to take all of Lu Chen's wool and give him a quick death. And when dealing with male protagonists, the best way to take advantage of them was undoubtedly Wang Haoren's usual method. However, Wang Haoren did not know how good Lu Chen's medical skills were. He was a little worried that he would be found out if he drugged him, so he did not choose this method. Moreover, even if the drug was successfully administered, Lu Chen might still be able to recover. After all, ancient medical skills were better than ordinary medical skills. Therefore, Wang Haoren wanted to use a reliable physical method. As for Xiaoye's matter, you can put it aside for the time being. When you're free, go and help me with something. Wang Haoren immediately instructed when the call went through. After Lu Chen's jade disappeared, he searched everywhere but still could not find it. He could only give up. After being depressed for a day or two, Lu Chen finally adjusted his mentality. Although he did not have the jade, he still had a lot of ancient medical knowledge in his mind. With this knowledge, he could still make a name for himself. Thinking of this, Lu Chen took out Ji Shuiyao's name card and pretended to ask her to come out to discuss the aftermath of the car accident. He wanted to use this opportunity to persuade her to leave Wang Haoren. However, before he could make the call, he received a lawyer's letter. The reason for being sued was naturally because of the scamming incident. After reading the lawyer's letter, Lu Chun was depressed. Professor G is beautiful and kind. This must not be her intention. It must be that rich bastard's idea. Lu Chun cursed for a while to vent his anger. Then, he faced reality. The amount of compensation in the lawyer's letter was not a small amount. At least for Lu Chun, it was not a small amount. He couldn't afford to pay for it. However, Lu Chun did not panic because he had a lot of medical knowledge in his mind. In this knowledge, there were many miraculous prescriptions. Lu Chun took the 10,000 yuan he got from Ji Shuiyao and went to the pharmacy to buy some herbs. Then he spent the whole afternoon concocting pills into the shape of perfectly round pills. When night fell, Lu Chun took these pills and went to the pedestrian street to set up a stall. These pills had super strong aphrodisiac effects and did not have any side effects. It was a blessing for male friends. Lu Chun gave the elixir a name, Tired Broken Waste. After setting up the stall, he hawked for a while. However, everyone thought he was a scammer and did not believe him. There was even a man who wanted to smash the stall. This man was very young. Because he had taken inferior medicine, he was almost crippled in certain areas. Naturally, he was angry when he saw a fake medicine seller like Lu Chun. Lu Chun was very confident in his medicine. He immediately made a bet with the man. If the medicine did not work, he would give his life to the man. The man was crippled. Naturally, he did not believe him and swallowed the pill on the spot. A few minutes later, the man felt a magical change in his body. He almost knelt down in front of Lu Chun and wanted to buy all the pills. 5,000 yuan each. Lu Chun saw the Ferrari keys on the man's waist and immediately demanded an exorbitant price. Chapter 343. On an alleyway under the moon, Lu Chun was walking back to his dormitory. As he walked, his eyes were fixed on a high transfer he had just received. 500,000. A full 500,000. He made a total of 100 pills and sold them all to the man in the Ferrari for 5,000 each. Looking at the balance on his phone, Lu Chun was slightly dazed. In just one afternoon, he used a few thousand yuan worth of herbs to make 100 pills. In this short period of time, he made a profit of a little more than 490,000. This money was too easy to earn. After being dazed for a while, Lu Chun's face showed uncontrollable joy. This 500,000 was just the beginning. He would earn more in the future. After all, there were too many miraculous prescriptions in his mind. The break-your-back pill was just one of the more common ones. Lu Chun was full of expectations. Earning money was one thing, but another was to find a girlfriend as soon as possible. After all, he was single since birth. He used to be poor, so he had no choice but to be single. But it was different now. With his ability, what woman was not worthy of him? In Lu Chun's mind, the 3 freshman campus belles he saw on the campus forum, Qin Yunhan, Su Muyin, and Mu Zhao Zhao. As he thought about it, he suddenly felt conflicted. All 3 of them were so beautiful, each with their own charm. Which one should he pursue? As he was thinking, Lu Chun suddenly saw a figure on the ground of the alleyway, approaching him quickly. Lu Chun was shocked and immediately turned around. In his field of vision, a gunny sack kept enlarging. Then, his vision turned dark, and a foul smell came from the gunny sack. But before he could react, he felt a hit on his neck. Lu Chun instantly lost consciousness. After an unknown period of time, Lu Chun slowly woke up. There was a sharp pain in his lower body. He immediately panicked and reached out to feel around. His whole body felt like it was struck by lightning. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the protagonist Lu Chun to become a eunuch. Gained 3,000 villain points. Lu Chun protagonist aura minus 150. Host villain aura plus 150. Wang Haoran, who was leaning on the bed and playing with his phone, received a system notification. 10 seconds after the notification, he immediately received a call from Jiang Gaoxian. "My lord, it's done," Jiang Gaoxian reported. "Well, you did well," Wang Haoran praised. Then, he was slightly worried, so he continued to ask, "Where did you put the things you cut off?" Lu Chun was a miraculous doctor. The method used on Yang Wuxian, Yin Yin Tian, and the others might not work on Lu Chun. Therefore, Wang Haoran asked Jiang Gaoxian to cut it physically. However, it was still not very safe to just cut it, because if it was well preserved, it might be possible to sew it back together. This subordinate naturally remembers the High Lord's words. He said to throw it far away. After I finished my business, I took it away. When I passed by an alley, I saw a dog barking, so I threw it to the dog. I saw the dog eat it with my own eyes, said Jiang Gaoxian. Hearing this, Wang Haoran was stunned for a moment. He really wanted to tell Jiang Gaoxian that he was a genius. However, as a villain, he couldn't help but praise Jiang Gaoxian again in a cold tone. Very good. If you work for me, I won't treat you badly. If you have any trouble that you can't solve in the future, I'll help you. Thank you, my lord. Jiang Gaoxian responded excitedly. Then, he said eagerly, then I'll continue to monitor Xiao Yi. Go ahead, Wang Haoran urged. During these days, Jiang Gaoxian had stopped Xiao Yi's live broadcast many times. He had also received some rewards. Although it was not as good as the reward provided by Yin Yuntian, many a little makes a mickle. Moreover, Jiang Gaoxian was free labor. It would be a waste not to use him. After ending the call with Jiang Gaoxian, Wang Haoran waited. Not long after, the doorbell rang. It was Feng Anna. Her engagement with Yin Yuntian had been peacefully dissolved. These days, Feng Anna went back to repair her relationship with her parents. She also took back control of the company from her best friend. Feng Anna became the princess of the Feng family again. However, her mentality had quietly changed, because the Feng family had disappointed her too much. Her heart was no longer with the Feng family. After dealing with the Feng family's matters, Feng Anna rushed back to Qingling. She wanted to fulfill her promise. Or more accurately, she did not dare to break her promise, because she could not bear the consequences of breaking her promise. Feng Anna walked into the villa. She was very cautious. She stood in the living room and did not even dare to sit. You said that you were very close to Yin Yuntian's other fiancée, so close that you could influence her thoughts. Wang Haoran mentioned the previous incident. Tell me more about Yin Yuntian's fiancée. Hearing this, Feng Anna's face turned pale. Fear flashed through her eyes. Wang Haoran noticed the change in her expression and vaguely sensed something. He could not help but frown. You lied to me before? I didn't do it on purpose. I had no choice. Feng Anna lowered her head and said in a trembling voice. Wang Haoran was displeased. If it were not for Feng Anna's last condition, he would not have helped her. Although I can't influence her thoughts, I still know her. I know some news about her. Sensing that Wang Haoran was on the verge of exploding, Feng Anna hurriedly said, Speak. Wang Haoran spat out a word coldly. She is the daughter of a big martial arts family in Sangzhou. Her name is Ning Aoshue. She is about the same age as me. Her martial arts talent is the best in the Ning family and even in the entire Sangzhou. A few years ago, she had some enlightenment and went into seclusion to cultivate. Until now, there's been no news. Ning Aoshue and I have the same idea about the engagement with Yin Yuntian. We don't want our lives to be controlled by others. Because of this, we have a good relationship. However, I haven't contacted her for a long time. I don't know how she is doing. Feng Anna hurriedly told him what she knew. I can easily find out this information. Do you think it is valuable? Wang Haoran said lightly. Feng Anna did not dare to refute. After a moment of silence, she said as if she had accepted her fate. You could do whatever you want with me. I actually took the initiative to come here. I'm already mentally prepared. After that, Feng Anna directly closed her eyes, intending to be a wooden person and face the storm. Wang Haoran frowned. Do I look like I'm going to eat someone? Or is Feng Anna too confident in her appearance? Although Wang Haoran did have some thoughts, it was always a little uncomfortable to be looked down upon. Moreover, Feng Anna looked like she was going to die, which made him lose interest. Thinking of this, Wang Haoran said, Wipe the floor in the villa. Hearing the voice, Feng Anna slowly opened her eyes and said in a daze, Wipe the floor. I used to ask hourly workers to clean, but now I have you as a free laborer. I'll leave all the rough work to you in the future. After that, Wang Haoran directly turned and went back to his room. Feng Anna was left in a daze. Chapter 344. Night. In a big house. It has been a few days since the cancellation of the engagement with Feng Anna. Yin Yuntian's mentality has returned to a stable state again. At this moment, he was enjoying the moon and drinking wine in the courtyard. Yuning came to the courtyard and said, "The news about Feng Anna that I found a few days ago is wrong." "What happened?" Yin Yuntian frowned and asked. "I saw Feng Anna today and found that she is pure." Yuning said, "She has a special ability. That is, she can identify a woman's experience in a certain aspect at a glance." Yin Yuntian knew it. After hearing Yuning say this, he couldn't help but be surprised. "Didn't you check before and say that her private life is more indulgent? It seems that the information I got before should be deliberately made up by someone. And this person, I think it is most likely Feng Anna. She wants you to think that she is an indulgent woman and wants you to take the initiative to cancel the engagement." Yuning said, "This woman is really bold." Yin Yuntian's eyes flashed coldly. Miss Xuanzu said. Yuning reminded him. Yin Yuntian was stunned and could only suppress the anger in his heart. He said, as if comforting himself, "Well, anyway, the engagement with her has been canceled. It doesn't matter. What's more, I have more than one fiancé." "That's true, but this Feng Anna is really beautiful. It's a bit of a pity. I don't know which man will benefit in the future." Yuning stood from Yin Yuntian's point of view and felt sorry for him. When Yin Yuntian heard this, his heart suddenly felt suffocated. Ding, the host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the protagonist Yin Yuntian's mentality to be damaged, gained 800 villain points. Yin Yuntian protagonist aura -40. Host villain aura +40. Yuning, I found that you're getting worse and worse. The previous investigation about Qin Yunhan was wrong. After that, I asked you to investigate the news about Feng Anna. She was not only wrong, but also wrong. Yin Yuntian looked at Yuning with displeasure. "I will correct it in the future." Yuning pretended to be frightened and said perfunctorily, "It was absolutely impossible to correct it. As for Feng Anna's matter, it was actually Wang Haoran who instructed her to do so. She was just following orders. If Yin Yuntian asked her to do something again, and if Wang Haoran asked her to do something again, she would continue to cheat Yin Yuntian." "You may leave," Yin Yuntian said faintly. Yuning left. Yin Yuntian frowned as he watched her leave. He contacted Yin Xian and asked her to come to Qingling's place. Yuning had failed twice, and Yin Yuntian didn't want to count on her for the time being. Yin Xian was more reliable. Night. Hundreds of years ago, martial arts flourished in Songzhou. As time passed, it became a bit more desolate. However, the foundation of its Song state still remained. Here, there were some martial arts families with hundreds of years of history. In the entire Song prefecture, there were fewer modern things compared to other places. Many ancient buildings were preserved. The Ning family mansion was brightly lit. Outside a quiet courtyard, many figures were standing, looking at the closed door of the quiet courtyard. There was not a single sound of conversation in the surroundings. Even their breathing was done cautiously, as if they were afraid of causing any commotion and disturbing the people in the courtyard. Half an hour passed in this slightly strange atmosphere. Creak. The door, which hadn't been pushed for a long time, made some old sounds. The door slowly opened. A beautiful figure walked out of the courtyard. It was a woman in her early 20s. She was wearing a moon-white robe. Her black hair hung down naturally. Her snow-white oval face had very delicate facial features. There was no makeup, only a light cinnabar embellishment between her eyebrows. She was like a delicate beauty who walked out of an ancient painting. However, the people here knew that she was not a delicate woman. On the contrary, she was very strong, stronger than all the young people in the Song prefecture. She was even stronger than all the young talents in the hidden Jianghu. Aoshua, waiting outside the courtyard, a middle-aged man who was less than 50 years old looked at the woman with strong expectations and asked. This middle-aged man's surname was Ning. He was the father of the woman in front of him, and this woman was called Ning Aoshua. Hearing her father's words, Ning Aoshua didn't answer. Instead, she stretched out her white fingers. A few strands of almost solid qi quickly condensed at the tip of her finger, turning into a small flower that slowly bloomed and finally dissipated. The magical scene lasted very short, but in the eyes of Ning Aoshue's father, he was so shocked that his scalp tingled. Condensing qi into a shape was a skill that only neutralizing grandmasters could do. Although Ning Aoshue couldn't do it completely, she could already condense a solid object. This meant that Ning Aoshue had 80 to 90 years of genuine qi. At most 2 years, the Ning family would definitely have a neutralizing grandmaster, and a neutralizing grandmaster in her early 20s. Good, good, good. Our Ning family has a real phoenix. Ning Aoshue's father danced with joy. His excitement was beyond words. The rest of the family didn't have Ning Aoshue's knowledge, but after hearing Ning Aoshue's words, they understood what it meant. For a moment, the Ning family was immersed in this kind of carnival joy. After a while, Ning Aoshue's father raised his hand to stop the crowd's cheering. From now on, Ning Aoshue is the head of the Ning family. Who has any objections? As soon as he said this, not to mention the ordinary family members, even the respected figures of the older generation of the Ning family agreed. Greetings to the new head of the family. More than 200 family members shouted respectfully together, and their voices went straight to the sky. After a long time, the voices stopped. Ning Aoshue's eyes flashed with sharpness. I am the new head of the Ning family. From now on, I will control my own destiny. Ning Aoshue's father understood and winked at a family member who was inquiring about Jianghu information behind him. That family member stepped forward and said respectfully, I have already inquired about the news. Head of the family, your fiancé, Yin Yuntian, is now in Qingling. Qingling was not far from Sangzhou. Ning Aoshu nodded, but she was not in a hurry. She asked again, who is the top of the Hidden Dragon and Young Phoenix list now? Jiang Gaoxian. He is also in Qingling. The family member who was inquiring about Jianghu information immediately replied. They are all in Qingling, right? Very good. It saves me a trip. Ning Aoshue smiled. Breaking off the engagement with Yin Yuntian was the first thing. Taking the top of the Hidden Dragon and Young Phoenix list was the second thing. Now Yin Yuntian and Jiang Gaoxian were both in Qingling. Ning Aoshue did not need to travel between the two places, which saved her a lot of trouble. Thinking like this, Ning Aoshue took a step forward. Her figure flashed, and then she appeared 80 or 90 steps away. After seeing this, the family members widened their eyes in horror. Was this a strong martial artist who was close to the great grandmaster of transforming strength? It was really terrible. Just when people had this idea, Ning Aoshue's figure had already blended into the night. Aoshue is really impatient, but this is also the biggest motivation for her cultivation for many years. Jiang Gaoxian and Yin Yuntan were defeated by Aoshue, and Aoshue became the top martial artist among the young generation in Jianghu. The name of the Ning family will be known in the whole Jianghu in the near future. Ning Aoshue's father looked at the direction where his daughter disappeared, with a gratified, proud, and excited smile on his face. Chapter 345. 2 o'clock at midnight. Jiang Gaoxian pulled down the power, switched many times to stop Xiao Yi from broadcasting. But Xiao Yi was very stubborn. He ran to the stairwell many times to pull up the power switch. Jiang Gaoxian felt a little irritated. After breaking the power switch again, he gradually lost his patience. He planned in his heart that if Xiao Yi were to come out and push the switch again, he would just knock him out. Jiang Gaoxian hid on the rooftop, paying attention to the movement in the stairwell, waiting for the next attack. However, in his field of vision, there was a figure floating from behind him. Jiang Gaoxian was shocked. He looked back and saw a beautiful woman with a cinnabar between her eyebrows. If Jiang Gaoxian was normal, he would definitely drool over such a beautiful woman. But after taking the medicine, he became pure and only focused on cultivation. He had no interest in women at all. Who are you? Jiang Gaoxian asked with vigilance. The reason for that was because he felt a sense of danger from the woman. Ning Aoshue from the Ning family in Sangzhou. After she came to Qingling, she contacted the person who was stationed in Qingling to collect information. She got Jiang Gaoxuan's identity, so she couldn't wait to find him. I've heard of your name. What do you want from me? Jiang Gaoxian said arrogantly. I want something from you, Ning Aoshua said. What is it? The first place of the Hidden Dragon and Young Phoenix list. Humph, I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Although Jiang Gaoxian was a little guilty, he pretended to be arrogant. You'll know after you try. Ning Aoshua smiled faintly under the moonlight. Wait a minute. Jiang Gaoxian suddenly stopped her. If you want to admit defeat, it's okay. But remember to announce the result tomorrow, Ning Aoshua said. Who said I want to admit defeat? Jiang Gaoxian curled his lips. He had been the first place of the Hidden Dragon and Young Phoenix list for a long time. He loved this vanity very much. If he suddenly lost it, he would definitely be unhappy. However, Jiang Gaoxian could feel that Ning Aoshua's genuine qi cultivation was far superior to his. If they fought, he would most likely lose. After thinking for a while, Jiang Gaoxian suddenly thought of a way. Ning Aoshua, I advise you not to think about my first place. Otherwise, my lord will definitely stand out for me. You won't be able to hold the first place for half a day. Your lord? Ning Aoshua was stunned. My lord is not old age, Jiang Gaoxian added. But he is very low-key and rarely shows. So few peoples know him. S is Aoshua. Aurelius. Is there such a young man in the secluded Jianghu? Ning Aoshua sneered. Obviously, she didn't believe Aoshua's Jiang Gaoxian also saw this point, so he emphasized with a serious expression. Don't doubt me, I'm telling the truth. Then tell me, what is the background of your lord? Which family or sect does he come from? What is his name? Ning Aoshua wanted to expose him, so she threw out some questions. Hearing this, Jiang Gaoxian was stumped. The great lord liked to keep a low profile. He had no interest in the first rank, and he did not want others to know of his existence. If he revealed the lord's information, he would be punished. However, Jiang Gaoxian really didn't want to give up the first place. Suddenly, he thought of another person who had a strong background and a strong martial arts cultivation. Fengxi Mountain's young master, Yin Yuntian. Have you heard of him? Jiang Gaoxian said proudly. He heard from the lord that Yin Yuntian was very strong, even stronger than him. He also ordered not to provoke Yin Yuntian without orders. Jiang Gaoxian didn't want to reveal the lord's information, but he wanted to keep the first place. So, he directly mentioned Yin Yuntian to scare Ning Aoshua. Yin Yuntian? Ning Aoshua was a little surprised when she heard the name. In addition to Jiang Gaoxian, she also wanted to find Yin Yuntian. She didn't expect that these two people actually knew each other, and they were the lord's subordinate. Since you know, why don't you leave quickly? Otherwise, it won't be so easy for you to leave when I call the honorable lord over. Jiang Gaoxian threatened Yi Qingyu because he had someone to protect him. You tell Yin Yuntian to come here. Ning Aoshua wanted to solve two things at once. Aren't you afraid? Things were a little out of Jiang Gaoxuan's expectation. My patience is limited. I won't give you too much time. Ning Aoshua's voice turned cold. Jiang Gaoxian saw this and couldn't help but think of escaping, but he felt that his qi was locked by the other party. If he wanted to escape, it would be almost impossible. After thinking about it, Jiang Gaoxian could only pick up his phone and inform Wang Haoran. My lord asked me to take you to him. Jiang Gaoxian hung up the phone and said. Ning Aoshua frowned and was quite dissatisfied with this, but she wanted to solve these two things once and for all, so she had to show some patience. Lead the way. Jiang Gaoxian curled his lips and led the way. After a while, they came to a park square in a villa area. Under the moonlight, in the middle of the square, there was a figure waiting with his back turned. Yin Yuntian. Ning Aoshua slowly said this name with some complicated emotions. Wang Haoran had long since heard the commotion. When he heard the words, he slowly turned around with some doubts. On the phone, Jiang Gaoxian said that a woman named Ning Aoshua was looking for trouble and asked him to help solve it. After hearing this, Wang Haoran immediately agreed. Wasn't Ning Aoshua Yin Yuntian's fiancée? However, Ning Aoshua looked at him and called him Yin Yuntian. What was going on? Young Master Yin, I brought him here. Jiang Gaoxian cleverly shouted. Wang Haoran immediately understood. Maybe Jiang Gaoxian was in trouble and didn't want to reveal his identity, so he mentioned Yin Yuntian. Ning Aoshue thought that he was Yin Yuntian. However, what Jiang Gaoxian didn't know was that Ning Aoshue was Yin Yuntian's fiancée. Ning Aoshue on the opposite side also saw the appearance of her fiancé after Wang Haoran turned around. The engagement was set by the elders. She had never seen Yin Yuntian. She didn't know whether Yin Yuntian was tall, short, fat, or thin. Was he good-looking or not? At this moment, it was the first time they met. Ning Aoshue was a martial artist. With the help of the moonlight, she clearly saw the appearance of her fiancé. His figure was tall and straight. His body lines were almost perfect. His face was perfect, and his facial features were impeccable. He had the temperament of a nobleman. She just took a few glances and couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement. Ning Aoshue was very surprised. She didn't expect that her fiancé was actually so handsome. Ding! The female lead Ning Aoshue's favorability to the host has increased by 40. The current favorability is 40, very friendly. Ding! The host has influenced the direction of the plot. The host has gained 3,000 villain points. Yin Yuntian's protagonist Halo minus 150. The host's villain Halo plus 150. Wang Haoran. Chapter 346. The sudden message made Wang Haoran a little confused, and then he felt a burst of surprise. Because of Feng Anna, Wang Haoran thought that Ning Aoshue would be a difficult female lead when he first heard about her. After all, Feng Anna was almost immune to handsome guys. He was so charming, but he couldn't get Feng Anna's favor at all. Therefore, Wang Haoran expected that Ning Aoshue, who practiced martial arts, must be the same. Unexpectedly, Ning Aoshue, the female lead, was a person who liked appearance. They just met for the first time, and her favor to him immediately rose to 40. Of course, part of the reason was that Ning Aoshue thought that he was her fiancé. Ning Aoshue didn't expect much from her fiancé. She even thought that he was an ugly guy, but she didn't expect that he was so handsome. Because of this huge contrast and Ning Aoshue's image as a person who liked appearance, Ning Aoshue liked him so much. For Wang Haoran, this was a great thing. Seeing that Ning Aoshue mistook him as her fiancé, he just made the best of it. "You're Ning Aoshue. Why you come to me so late? Are you in a hurry to marry me?" Hearing Wang Haoran's voice, Ning Aoshue felt a little embarrassed. She immediately stopped looking at him and recovered her obsession to get rid of the shackles in her heart. She said with a cold face, "Who wants to marry you?" Since I knew about this engagement, I felt that there was a huge stone in my heart, and I wanted to move it away all the time. And I practiced hard for many years just for this. Speaking of this, she directly said the purpose of her visit. She said in a sharp tone, "I came to you to defeat you and then break off the engagement. Because a man who is weaker than me is not qualified to be my fiancé." Break off the engagement again? Wang Haoran raised his eyebrows. Both Feng Anna and Ning Aoshue wanted to break off the engagement with Yin Yuntian, so they came to find Yin Yuntian. But according to the normal development of the plot, the result was just giving away food. However, because of his intervention, the development of the plot had changed a lot. Wang Haoran could feel that Ning Aoshue's genuine qi was even more vigorous than Yin Yuntian's. If Yin Yuntian had followed the normal path from the beginning, his strength would have also risen. However, before Yin Yuntian could activate his bulldozer mode, he had been secretly drugged. That aspect of him had directly collapsed, causing his strength to stagnate. As a result, Yin Yuntian's current strength was not as high as Ning Aoshue's. If Ning Aoshue found Yin Yuntian, then Yin Yuntian would suffer again. Actually, I'm not Yin Yuntian. After knowing Ning Aoshue's intention, Wang Haoran still hoped that Ning Aoshue would find trouble with Yin Yuntian, so he explained. Ding! The favorability of the female lead Ning Aoshue towards the host has decreased by 10. Current favorability is 30, very friendly. Ding! The favorability of the female lead Ning Aoshue towards the host has decreased by 10. Current favorability is 20, friendly. Ding! The favorability of the female lead Ning Aoshue towards the host has decreased by 10. Current favorability is 10, ordinary acquaintance. Ding. The favorability of the female lead Ning Aoshue towards the host has decreased by 10. Current favorability is 0, like a stranger. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately received 4 system notifications. Wang Haoran could not help but be dumbfounded. Opposite him, the hidden admiration in the depths of Ning Aoshue's eyes had completely disappeared. So, Yin Yuntian is actually such a cowardly man. He doesn't even dare to compete with me. Ning Aoshue's tone was full of sarcasm. I've already said that I'm not Yin Yuntian. Wang Haoran defended himself again. Yin Yuntian, your name was given by your parents. You don't even have the courage to admit your name. You really are the most cowardly man in the world. The sarcasm in Ning Aoshue's tone had already turned into mockery. Yes, Yin Yuntian is a cowardly man. After all, he was not Yin Yuntian. Wang Haoran did not have any psychological pressure when he called out his name and belittled him. Stop talking nonsense. Let's fight. If you lose, the engagement will be canceled. As a martial artist, Ning Aoshue was originally a bit belligerent. In addition to the engagement, she wanted to fight with Yin Yuntian no matter what. I'm too lazy to bother with you. Wang Haoran saw that he could not explain himself and could not help but curl his lips. He gradually lost his patience. He turned around and wanted to go back to sleep. If you don't fight first, then I'll offend you. Ning Aoshue reprimanded him. Before her voice had even died away, her figure had already appeared behind Wang Haoran. A fair and jade-like hand, wrapped in incomparably vigorous, genuine qi, slapped towards Wang Haoran's back. Wang Haoran's perception was astonishing. The moment Ning Aoshue made a move, he was already prepared. The moment before Ning Aoshue's palm touched his back, he suddenly turned around. As the light in his eyes surged, he met her palm with a palm. The two palms collided and stagnated for a second. Then the air exploded and vibrated. Circles of ripples that were hard to see with the naked eye instantly spread out from the place where their palms met. There was a temporary vacuum of a few feet around them. The air was crazily compressed, causing a gust of wind to blow around them. It blew the trees and flowers around the square. At the same time, Ning Aoshue also gave a muffled groan. Her body trembled, and she stepped back. When she steadied herself, before she could do anything else, a strong and powerful hand pinched her snow-white, slender neck. Ning Aoshue opened her eyes wide and looked at the handsome man in front of her in disbelief. She cultivated in seclusion in order to get rid of the shackles of the engagement. She thought that with her current cultivation, she would be the number 1 person of the younger generation in the hidden Jianghu. Her fiancé would definitely not be her opponent. Who would have thought that she would not even be able to make 2 moves against him? Ning Aoshue did not even dream that her fiancé would be a neutralizing grandmaster. Although she was only a dozen or so years away from becoming a neutralizing grandmaster, the gap between them was enormous. That was because after reaching the neutralizing grandmaster realm, the body's reaction, perception, speed, strength, and so on all received a qualitative increase. As a result, she was instantly defeated. Neutralizing grandmaster was a realm that countless cultivators yearned for even in their dreams. Her fiancé was said to be less than 20 years old. A neutralizing grandmaster less than 20 years old. Even in the hidden Jianghu that had existed for several hundred years, his talent for martial cultivation was second to none. Such a monstrous martial genius. And he was also so handsome. Who knew how many beautiful women in the hidden Jianghu would be willing to lower themselves to marry him? It was laughable that she had such a good life, yet she did not know it. She actually stupidly wanted to cancel the engagement. Ding! The female lead Ning Aoshue's favorability towards the host has returned to 40, extremely friendly. Ding! The female lead Ning Aoshue's favorability towards the host has increased by 10. Current favorability towards the host is 50, adoration. Ding! The host has influenced the direction of the plot. The host has received 2,000 villain points. Yin Yuntian's protagonist aura minus 100. The host villain aura plus 100. Chapter 347. I said I don't want to talk to you, but you still want to pester me. Do you want to die? After Wang Haoren received the system's prompt, he was secretly happy, but he didn't show it on his face. Instead, he threatened her with a cold face. Ning Aoshue was very embarrassed. She tried to organize her words, but she didn't know what to say. After a while, she spat out 3 words unexpectedly. I was wrong. After she said that, Wang Haoren's hand that grabbed Ning Aoshue's neck also slowly loosened. He didn't want to kill Ning Aoshue. What's more, Ning Aoshue was actually targeting Yin Yuntian. Plus, Ning Aoshue now loved him. Wang Haoren naturally wouldn't care about her. Moreover, if he really wanted to vent his resentment, he could do it in another place that was not known to outsiders. At that time, wouldn't it be more comfortable to hear Ning Aoshue beg for mercy? I have already said that I'm not Yin Yuntian. After thinking for a while, Wang Haoren declared again. Although Ning Aoshue liked him, she thought he was Yin Yuntian. He was a little uncomfortable, so he naturally had to explain. When Ning Aoshue heard this, she panicked. She wanted to say something, but she was too embarrassed to say it, so she just kept silent. Wang Haoren didn't know what Ning Aoshue was thinking, but he had already explained that he wasn't Yin Yuntian. According to Ning Aoshue's intention, she should be going to trouble Yin Yuntian. Yin Yuntian's strength was stagnant, and now he couldn't beat Ning Aoshue. It seemed that it wouldn't be long before there would be a good show. Go do your thing, Wang Haoren said to Jiang Gaoxian, who clenched his fists and looked at him with admiration. Jiang Gaoxian came back to his senses, nodded heavily, and said excitedly, "Thank you, my lord, for helping me to keep the first place." After saying that, he immediately took the order and was ready to go back to make trouble for Xiaoyi. Wang Haoren also did not stop. He glanced at Ning Aoshue, who was standing at the same spot. No one knew what she was thinking. With a flash of his body, he appeared outside the square and quickly disappeared. Ning Aoshue came to her senses and stared at the direction where Wang Haoren left. Her face couldn't help but reveal a worried expression. He deliberately denied his identity. Maybe he doesn't want to recognize me as his fiancée? Ning Aoshue sighed to herself. Not many people knew about her engagement with Yin Yuntian. Just now, Wang Haoren teased Ning Aoshue with a marriage contract. Ning Aoshue naturally thought that he was Yin Yuntian, because how could outsiders know about the engagement between the two of them, even if Wang Haoren later denied his identity? Ning Aoshue also thought that he was blaming her for canceling the engagement, so he didn't want to admit it. In addition to these, Ning Aoshue had another strong evidence. That was because when they were fighting earlier, although he was holding his neck, there was no killing intent in his eyes at all. If he was really a martial arts master who didn't know her, would he let her go easily? That was absolutely impossible. Then, the matter was obvious. Although her fiancé was angry, he didn't hurt her because of the engagement. Thinking of this, Ning Aoshue suddenly felt ashamed. She was so aggressive and wanted to cancel the engagement with him. She even went to the point of fighting. He easily defeated her, but he didn't hurt her at all. He didn't even say a harsh word to her. On the other hand, she was like a crazy woman who had lost her mind. When he's less angry tomorrow, I'll take the initiative to apologize to him. After blaming herself for a while, Ning Aoshue secretly made up her mind. Wang Haoren returned to the villa. It was already 2 o'clock in the morning. Many lights in the villa were still on. It was Feng Anna who was cleaning. There were not many places in the hall and rooms of the villa. If she was more agile, she would have finished cleaning long ago. However, Feng Anna had never done any rough work since she was a child. She was clumsy. She had been busy for so long, but she only cleaned a small part of the villa. Of course, the main reason was that Feng Anna didn't dare to be perfunctory. She cleaned very carefully. She was afraid that she would be punished or scolded if she didn't clean it well. However, she had been busy for so long that her waist was very sore. Her arms were too strong, and she couldn't exert any strength. What was more, she was very sleepy. After all, it was now 2 o'clock in the morning. She liked to sleep for beauty. She used to go to bed before 10 o'clock in the evening. At this time, seeing Wang Haoren coming back from outside, Feng Anna wanted to ask if she could rest first and get up to clean tomorrow. However, after thinking about it, She felt that it was inappropriate. The first impression was very important. She had just arrived and didn't even finish the first thing he asked her to do. She wanted to slack off. If he didn't like her, she would suffer more in the future. Feng Yana took advantage of the fact that Wang Haoran was in her field of vision, so she worked hard to clean the house. Unfortunately, Wang Haoran didn't even look at her and went straight back to his room to sleep. Feng Yana was depressed. The next day, as soon as Wang Haoran woke up, he received a call from Yuning. Yin Yuntian doesn't trust me as much as before. He avoided me and directly called Yun Xian to Qingling. After the phone was connected, Yuning's slightly sad voice came. Yun Xian, is she the maid you mentioned before? Wang Haoran asked. Yes, I suddenly saw her come to Qingling this morning. I was stunned for a while. After asking, I found out that Yin Yuntian secretly called her over. Yuning said, how does this Yun Xian look like? She is very beautiful. She is not worse than me at all. Although she is a maid, she is still pure. Yuning gave a general information about Yun Xian. Wang Haoran listened, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He had planned before that good things would come in pairs. But he didn't expect that Yun Xian would come to Qingling so quickly. Yuning thought that the bad news was indeed good news in his opinion. Thinking of this, Wang Haoran immediately said, I want to see Yun Xian. Can you call her out alone? Yuning said, I'm afraid not. Yun Xian rushed over here. She just arrived this morning and is a little tired. She's going to rest now. Wang Haoran couldn't help but frown. In order to avoid trouble, he wanted to see Yun Xian as soon as possible. Since it was inconvenient for Yun Xian to come out, he could only make a trip himself. However, in broad daylight, Wang Haoran didn't plan to sneak in. Instead, he wanted to go to Yin Yuntian's mansion openly. As for meeting Yin Yuntian, Wang Haoran didn't care much, because now was not the same as before. Now he had Feng Xuansu's protection. Even if there was a conflict with Yin Yuntian, Feng Xuansu will be the first to stand up and protect him. And from the previous matter of Yin Yuntian compromising with Feng Yana, Feng Xuansu's weight was definitely enough to restrain Yin Yuntian. Chapter 348. After ending the conversation with Yuning, Wang Haoran called Feng Xuansu. Are you treating me to a meal? Feng Xuansu answered the phone as soon as it rang and said excitedly, I'm not free today. Maybe another day. Wang Haoran replied and prepared to get to the point. He made up a reason. I've been learning painting recently, and I want to sketch in the old house. Do you know where there's an old house in Qingling? This reason sounded a bit ridiculous. Feng Xuansu was an outsider, and he grew up in Qingling. How could Feng Xuansu be more familiar with Qingling than him? However, Feng Xuansu didn't care about this detail. She only had one thought now, and that was to be able to get along with her husband. She ignored everything else. Yes. My nephew has a big house. Feng Xuansu quickly replied, I'll go with you. It's definitely suitable for you to sketch there. How can I do that? Isn't it too much trouble for you? Wang Haoran said politely. It's no trouble at all. Feng Xuansu urged. Where are you? Let's go now. I need to prepare some things. I'll contact you later, Wang Haoran said. Since it was in the name of sketching, he naturally needed to prepare some painting tools. Okay, I'll contact you later, Feng Xuansu replied. Wang Haoran was ready to go out. It was early in the morning, but Feng Yana had been cleaning since last night. She looked very tired. I'm done cleaning. Can I go and rest now? Feng Yana asked weakly. Go ahead. Wang Haoran saw that she was doing well, so he didn't make things difficult for her. Feng Yana heard it and immediately went to one of the bedrooms to rest. Wang Haoran drove the luxurious car and left the villa. He went to the vicinity of the Clear Spirit campus to buy some painting items and then contacted Feng Xuansu. After picking up Feng Xuansu, he went to Yin Yuntian's big house. On the way, Feng Xuansu wanted to contact Yin Yuntian, but he didn't pick up the phone, so she could only contact Yuning. When they arrived at the big house, Yuning greeted them at the door. Miss Xuansu. Yuning smiled and greeted him, then pretended not to know Wang Haoran and asked Feng Xuansu, I have a very good friend who wants to find an old house to sketch, so I brought him here, Feng Xuansu said. Yuning nodded, then made a please gesture and led the way in front. The three of them enter the mansion. "Where's Yin Yuntian?" Feng Xuansu asked casually. "He hasn't been in a good mood recently, so he always wakes up late. It's almost noon. It's still morning now, so he should be sleeping." Yuning got information about Yin Yuntian's schedule from the male servant who took care of Yin Yuntian. When she heard Feng Xuansu's question, she naturally answered. Feng Xuansu nodded and didn't pay much attention to it. With her status, there was no need for her to inform Yin Yuntian that she had brought someone here to sketch. Wang Haoran came to the big house and wandered around for a while. Then, he randomly picked a place in the old house, spread out the paper, and pretended to start sketching. Feng Xuansu stood aside and didn't disturb him. She just quietly watched Wang Haoran's every move. It was obviously a very boring behavior, but in Feng Xuansu's eyes, it made her feel very happy. Because there were only two people here. Even if there was no interaction, Feng Xuansu felt quite satisfied. However, Wang Haoran was a little uncomfortable. After all, he didn't really come here to sketch, but had other purposes. With his master-level painting and calligraphy copying skills, Wang Haoran's sketching level was still passable. After pretending to draw for a few minutes, he suddenly said to Feng Xuansu, "I have some urgent matters to attend to. I need to go to the toilet, so I'm going to relieve myself." "I'll go with you," Feng Xuansu said directly. This is not good, right?" Wang Haoran's eyes widened. "What I mean is, I'm afraid that you won't be able to find the place, so I'm just showing you the way." Feng Xuansu was a little embarrassed, so she corrected him. "No need. When I passed by just now, I think I saw the place. I don't need you to lead the way. I'll go by myself." Wang Haoran didn't want her to follow him. "All right then." Feng Xuansu didn't force him. Wang Haoran turned around and left Feng Xuansu's field of vision. Soon, he arrived at the garden in the big house. After waiting for a while, Yuning also came here. Yuning knew the purpose of Wang Haoran's visit in advance. Seeing that there was no one around, she immediately reported, "Yin Xian hasn't woken up yet. Is she still resting?" Wang Haoran was slightly disappointed. He came here specially to meet Yin Xian and use Charm Halo to persuade her. However, if Yin Xian was resting, he couldn't do that for the time being. After thinking about it, Wang Haoran could only say, "When she wakes up, let me know." Since he was already here, he could still wait for a while. Yes, Yuning accepted the order. Wang Haoran left the garden and returned to the place where he sketched. Feng Xuansu waited on the spot, like a little wife waiting for her husband to return. On the other side, after Yuning and Wang Haoran finished chatting, a servant came to pass a message that there was a guest. She followed the servant to take a look. At the door, she saw a beautiful woman in a moon-white robe with a cinnabar between her eyebrows. In the woman's hand was a gift box. She didn't know what was inside. "I'm a housekeeper here. My name is Yuning. May I ask who you are?" Yuning didn't know the person in front of her, so she asked in a questioning tone. "Sangzhou's Ning family, Ning Aoshua." The person reported her name. Yuning was slightly stunned. Although she had never seen the woman before, she knew that Ning Aoshua of Sangzhou's Ning family was one of Yin Yuntian's fiancés. "May I ask what brings Miss Ning here?" Yuning asked. "I'm here to visit your young master, Yin Yuntian," Ning Aoshua said with a kind smile. Yuning looked at the emotions on Ning Aoshua's face and couldn't help but frown secretly. She could feel that when Ning Aoshua mentioned Yin Yuntian's name, she had a very friendly mood. For Yuning, this was not a very happy thing. Because her master, Wang Haoran, was against Yin Yuntian, Yuning naturally didn't want to see Yin Yuntian well. Ning Aoshua came with good intentions to visit Yin Yuntian. This was not what Yuning wanted to see. "Please wait a moment." Yuning's attitude was cold. She said to Ning Aoshua, then turned and walked into the mansion. No one knew what she was going to do. Ning Aoshua saw that she was neglected and was a little unhappy, but thinking that she was apologizing to her fiancé, she naturally endured it. "Young master, one of Yin Yuntian's fiancés, Ning Aoshua of Sangzhou's Ning family, wants to come here to visit Yin Yuntian. Moreover, Ning Aoshua seems to have brought a gift, which seems to be for Yin Yuntian. What do you think I should do? Do you want to drive her away directly?" Yuning reported the news to Wang Haoran on the phone and asked for Wang Haoran's opinion. Chapter 349. Ning Aoshue came to visit Yin Yun Tian. Wang Haoran left Feng Xuanzu's field of vision and received a call from Yuning. He was suddenly surprised. Immediately after, he seemed to have thought of something and immediately laughed in a strange manner. He really didn't expect that the good show he was looking forward to would be staged so soon. Although the situation was a bit different from what he expected, the show he wanted to see would definitely be staged. Let Ning Aoshue come in. If she wants to see Yin Yun Tian, then let her see him. Wang Haoran smiled meaningfully and replied to Yuning on the phone. Yes, young master. Yuning accepted the order. After ending the call, she returned to the gate. Miss Ning, please. Yuning invited. Ning Aoshue nodded and walked into the mansion with Yuning and came to the living room. Yuning ordered the servant to prepare tea and then said to Ning Aoshue, Miss Ning, please wait. He is still resting. I will call him. Your young master is resting? Then don't disturb him immediately. When he wakes up, then inform him. I'm fine. I can wait as long as it takes. Ning Aoshue's tone was very gentle. She didn't feel wronged at all. This can't be. If my young master knows that I am negligent, he will blame me. Yuning insisted. She and Wang Haoran talked on the phone. Although she didn't know what Wang Haoran's intention was, she could guess that Wang Haoran intended to let Ning Aoshue see Yin Yun Tian as soon as possible. After that, Yuning turned directly to report. Ning Aoshue saw this and did not stop her. Although she didn't mind waiting, she actually wanted to see her fiancé as soon as possible and then apologized to him. There is a guest. Yuning came to a bedroom, reached out and knocked on the door, and said loudly, I don't want to see her. Yin Yuntian's cold voice came from the bedroom. It's Ning Aoshue of Songzhou's Ning family. Do you really not want to see her? Yuning asked again. Ning Aoshue? Yin Yuntian's surprised voice came from the bedroom. After a pause, he said with a hint of displeasure, What is Ning Aoshue doing here? Do you also want to cancel the engagement? With Feng Anna as an example, when Yin Yun Tian heard that his fiancée came to see him, he felt that something bad was going to happen. Naturally, he was not happy. Ning Aoshue's attitude was very good. When she talked about coming to visit you, there was a big smile on her face. Moreover, she brought a gift box over. Judging from the carvings on the gift box, it is of the highest quality. I think it should be a valuable gift. Most likely, it is for you. Yuning said, How does Ning Aoshue look like? Yin Yun Tian asked, Beautiful, very beautiful, no less than Feng Anna, and, compared to Feng Anna, there's a kind of otherworldly temperament. As a woman, I'm a little moved when I see it. Yuning said, Really? Yin Yun Tian's spirits were lifted, and his tone was filled with joy. Of course. However, we don't know what Ning Aoshue's intention is. Yuning said, You go and receive her well. Don't neglect Aoshue. I will come quickly. In the bedroom, there was a rustling sound. It seemed that Yin Yun Tian was hurriedly putting on his clothes. Obviously, he couldn't wait to see Ning Aoshue. Yuning could perceive Yin Yun Tian's mood and was very curious about what would happen when Yin Yun Tian saw Ning Aoshue. She went to the living room. In the bedroom, Yin Yun Tian put on his clothes and began to carefully tidy himself up. He was ready to take out his best appearance to see his fiancée, because from the conversation with Yuning just now, Yin Yun Tian could judge that Ning Aoshue cared about her fiancé very much. He didn't take the initiative to contact Ning Aoshue, but Ning Aoshue had already come from Songzhou to see him. Could it be that Ning Aoshue couldn't wait to marry him? Thinking like this, Yin Yun Tian was in a good mood. At the same time, he also felt that it should be so. As the young master of Fengxi Mountain, he had excellent martial arts talent. Ning Aoshue didn't care about a woman's face, and specially came to visit her fiancé. This was a very normal thing. However, Yin Yun Tian was a little regretful that there was a little problem with his ability in that area. Otherwise, he could let Ning Aoshue stay the night, and then, but unfortunately, Yin Yun Tian was depressed for a moment, but he quickly adjusted his mood. He planned to make good friends with his fiancée first. His physical problems could be treated by a miracle doctor. Yin Yun Tian didn't take action before because he felt that this illness was too difficult to talk about, so he planned to delay the treatment for a little bit. After making good friends with Ning Aoshue, this matter must be accelerated. After all, the improvement of his strength was closely related to this. Yin Yintian recently got a message that the little fairy doctor of the Celestial Medicine Valley was in Qingling. At that time, he could find her to treat him. With the medical skills of the little fairy doctor of the Celestial Medicine Valley, he was very likely to recover. Yin Yuntian's heart was full of longing for the future, sweeping away the depression of these days. After a while, Yin Yuntian tidied himself up and recovered his confidence and the image of a handsome young master. Alas, why don't I have any inspiration? Wang Haoran, who was sketching, suddenly sighed to himself. Don't worry, relax, and maybe you'll have inspiration. Feng Xuanzu smiled and comforted him. That's right, then let's take a break. Let's go to the living room and have some tea. Wang Haoran felt that it was almost time, and he wanted to rush to the scene to watch the show. So he said, okay. Feng Xuanzu nodded with a smile and took Wang Haoran to the living room. On the other side, after Yin Yuntian dressed himself up, he couldn't wait to rush to the living room. There were two people in the living room, and one of them was Ning. Yin Yuntian glanced around and immediately saw Ning Aoshue, who was sitting in the living room. She was beautiful and had an extraordinary temperament. Was this his fiancée? She was really beautiful. Yin Yuntian felt a burst of excitement in his heart. He immediately walked in front of her and said with a little enthusiasm, Aoshue, your husband likes to sleep. Sorry to keep you waiting. What are you talking about, you despicable man? Hearing the man call himself husband, Ning Aoshue's face was full of anger, and she scolded him. The smile on Yin Yuntian's face froze for a moment, and then he thought that he hadn't met Ning Aoshue before. His words just now were indeed a bit abrupt, and he quickly explained, I almost forgot to introduce myself. I'm Yin Yuntian, your fiancé. Impossible. I saw my fiancé last night. Although the moonlight was dim, I was not dazzled that I couldn't distinguish him. Ning Aoshue said with a cold face. Miss Ning, did you make a mistake? He is Yin Yuntian. You Ning interrupted. Ning Aoshue was stunned. She suddenly remembered that when she met him last night, he said several times that he was not Yin Yuntian. At that time, she just thought that he was lying, but now it seemed that she had made a mistake. Ning Aoshue suddenly frowned. After a long time, he turned out not to be her fiancé. Then who was he? What was his name? Where could she find him? At this time, a man and a woman walked into the living room. Ning Aoshue subconsciously looked at them, and her sad face immediately relaxed, revealing a smile like a spring breeze. She hurried to the man and said happily, After last night, I didn't expect that we would meet again so soon. Ning Aoshue only felt that fate was too clever. She was still having a headache about where to find him, and the next moment, he appeared in front of her. Perhaps this was the fate between them. However, because she was too happy, she didn't pay much attention to her words. In her opinion, it was very normal, but in the ears of others, it had a different feeling. The phrase, parting last night, was too tempting to let one's imagination run wild, and let one's imagination run wild. On the side, Yin Yuntian's face was as black as the bottom of a pot, and at the same time, he felt that the top of his head was a little heavier. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the protagonist Yin Yuntian's mentality to be damaged. The reward is 1,000 villain points. Yin Yuntian protagonist aura -50. The host villain aura +50. Chapter 350. Wang Haoran received a wave of rewards. He couldn't help glancing at Yin Yuntian's ugly face and smiled secretly. Then he naturally moved his eyes away and looked at Ning Aoshue in front of him. He didn't expect that Ning Aoshue would be so excited to see him and say such a thought-provoking sentence. Smiling at Ning Aoshue, Wang Haoran added some oil and vinegar and said with a little enthusiasm, I used too much force last night. Does your neck still hurt? Ning Aoshue was stunned. She was surprised by Wang Haoran's attitude, but then she was happy. She knew that after one night, he didn't continue to be angry with her. Otherwise, he wouldn't ask her with special concern. I offended you first. Young master, you are so magnanimous that you don't care about it. I am very grateful. Ning Aoshue was flattered and responded. Then she touched her snow-white neck subconsciously. It doesn't hurt anymore. Thank you for your concern. After saying that, she showed a shy smile to Wang Haoran. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the protagonist, Yin Yuntian's mentality, to be damaged. You got 1,000 villain points. Yin Yuntian's protagonist Halo -50, and the host's villain Halo +50. The conversation fell into the ears of Yin Yuntian, who was standing next to them, and made his face even darker. Who are you? What did you do to my fiancé? Yin Yuntian couldn't bear it anymore. He took a step forward and asked Wang Haoran angrily with his genuine qi surging all over his body, which made the corners of his clothes flutter. Before Wang Haoran made any response, Feng Xuanzu immediately stood in front of him and said to Yin Yuntian, "This is my friend. You can't touch him. Besides, we haven't figured out yet. Why are you so anxious? And what else do we need to figure out? Just based on what he said to my fiancé, I can deal with him however I want." Yin Yuntian pointed at Wang Haoran and responded to Feng Xuanzu angrily. "Aren't you a little too overbearing?" Feng Xuanzu frowned and said with a firm tone, "I don't care how you treat others, but I absolutely won't allow you to touch my friend. Even if he really has something going on with your fiancé, I still won't allow you to touch him. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude to you." Behind her, Wang Haoran was stunned by Feng Xuanzu's protective action. He finally realized that Feng Xuanzu's tolerance for him seemed to be much higher than he had imagined. Was it because Feng Xuanzu was born in the secluded Jianghu that she did not think much of a man's multiple wives? Wang Haoran thought to himself. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the main character Yin Yuntian's mentality to be damaged. The reward is 600 villain points. Yin Yuntian's protagonist aura -30. The host's villain aura +30. Ani, aren't you placing too much importance on this friend of yours? Yin Yuntian's heart burned with jealousy. It's none of your business. You should deal with your own problems. Feng Xuanzu didn't want to respond to this matter. After all, she hadn't recognized her husband yet. She didn't want others to know about this matter. Yin Yuntian took a deep breath and tried to calm down his emotions. He turned his eyes to Ning Aoshue and said coldly, "As my fiancé, you have an ambiguous relationship with another man. Shouldn't you give me an explanation?" "I don't think it's necessary." Ning Aoshue sneered. The obsession of canceling the engagement rose again, and it was deeper than before. She said bluntly, "I'm here today to cancel the engagement with you." Hearing this, Yin Yuntian looked at Yu Ning with displeasure. He clearly remembered that Yu Ning said that Ning Aoshue's attitude was very friendly, and she even brought a gift. What was going on now? Was Ning Aoshue so friendly? What I said before was all true. There was no falsehood. And I also mentioned to you that I don't know the real purpose of Miss Ning. You can't blame me for this. Sensing Yin Yuntian's displeasure, Yu Ning defended herself. When Yin Yuntian heard this, he couldn't help but be speechless. This matter couldn't be blamed on Yu Ning. It was all because Ning Aoshue's behavior was too abnormal. If you want to cancel the engagement, you'd better find the elders of your Ning family. Although Yin Yuntian was very unhappy with Ning Aoshue's behavior, he didn't want to directly agree to Ning Aoshue's request, which would make him lose face. After all, he had just canceled the engagement with Feng Anna. Now he immediately canceled the engagement with Ning Aoshue. What was going on? If it spread to the hidden Jianghu, wouldn't it make people laugh their teeth off? Where did he put his face as the young master of Fengxi Mountain? And if this really happened, maybe outsiders would think that there was something wrong with his body. I am now the master of Ning family. I can make the decision myself, Ning Aoshue said. Yin Yuntian was surprised. Even so, it's not up to you to decide. You'll have to ask for my opinion. I don't agree to cancel the engagement. You don't agree? While speaking, Ning Aoshue's hidden true qi suddenly ran without reservation. Her voice suddenly rose. A man who is weaker than me is not qualified to be my fiancé. If you don't want to cancel the engagement, then please show me your ability. The vigorous true qi made the air in the living room slightly vibrate. As the air was compressed, The wind blew around and blew on Yan Yuntian's face. Yan Yuntian's angry face became a little stiff at the moment. Before, Ning Aoshua deliberately hid and didn't reveal her true qi cultivation. He didn't notice Ning Aoshua's foundation, but now he clearly felt it. This Ning Aoshua was very strong, one level stronger than him. Yan Yuntian knew that his chance of winning was pitifully small. After struggling in his heart, after a long silence, Yan Yuntian's voice was dry. Since you insist, then it's up to you. The engagement is cancelled. After saying this, he felt that he lost face. Suddenly he added, "Anyway, you're not good-looking and I don't like you. After all, I have so many fiancés and I don't need you." Hearing the first half of the words, Ning Aoshua was in a good mood, and the huge stone in her heart was finally removed. She couldn't help but smile. But when she heard the second half of the words, her pretty face instantly turned cold. "Since we don't like each other, then the engagement is cancelled," Ning Aoshua said politely at first, and then her tone became sharp. "But I heard that the young master of Fengxi Mountain is a martial arts genius, so I want to learn from you. Please." After saying this, Ning Aoshua didn't care whether Yin Yuntian agreed or not. She directly took the initiative and slapped heavily. Yin Yuntian raised his palm to meet the attack. Soon, he let out a muffled groan as he retreated. He didn't stop until he bumped into the thick wall of the living room. Wherever he stepped, the floor cracked, and the wall behind him was deeply sunken. And Yin Yuntian's face was obviously much paler. After hitting Ning Aoshua's palm, the hand hidden behind his back was trembling with blue veins. The young master of Fengxi Mountain is just SOSO. Ning Aoshua's lips outlined a proud arc, and she lightly spat out such a sentence. Yin Yuntian clenched his teeth in anger and almost broke them. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes and affected the direction of the plot, causing the protagonist Yin Yuntian to be ridiculed by the female protagonist Ning Aoshua. The host received 1,000 villain points. Yin Yuntian's protagonist aura -50. The host's villain aura +50. Chapter 351. Ning Aoshua smiled. Looking at the embarrassed Yin Yuntian, she continued, "It seems that you don't have any objection to the cancellation of the engagement." Hearing that, Yin Yuntian was silent. What could he do? He couldn't beat her. If he continued to talk nonsense, he would only be asking for trouble. So he chose to be silent. Ning Aoshua was in a good mood. She regained her freedom and felt that the air she breathed was much fresher than usual. "I suddenly have inspiration again. I won't drink tea. I'd better continue to paint," Wang Haoren said. The show was over. Naturally, there was no need to continue to stay in the living room. "Okay, I'll go with you." Feng Xuansu was naturally obedient to her husband. She immediately responded obediently. "I'm also somewhat interested in painting. May I have the honor to watch?" Ning Aoshua strode to Wang Haoren and asked with a smile. "No." Feng Xuansu answered for Wang Haoren first. "Who are you? Why do you decide for him?" Ning Aoshua frowned. "I'm his friend." Feng Xuansu was so anxious that she almost spilled the beans again. "Just a friend. Then you seem to be meddling too much," Ning Aoshua said. Wang Haoren saw that the atmosphere was not right and hurriedly stopped her. "Let's talk about it. It's just such a small thing. Why quarrel?" Hearing this, Feng Xuansu was afraid to disturb her husband's mood of painting, so she immediately withdrew the tit-for-tat look between her and Ning Aoshua. Like an obedient little girl, she said to Wang Haoren cleverly, "Well, I won't quarrel with her." Seeing that, Ning Aoshua asked Wang Haoren again, "Can I follow you and have a look? If you want to see, then come." Wang Haoren nodded indifferently. After saying that, he took the lead to walk in front. Feng Xuansu hurriedly followed and walked side by side with Wang Haoren. Ning Aoshua also hurriedly followed and walked to the other side of Wang Haoren. Just like that, Wang Haoren, accompanied by two beauties on his left and right, walked towards another part of the old mansion. Ding! The host has damaged the mentality of the main character, Yin Yuntian. The host has received 800 villain points. Yin Yuntian's protagonist aura -40, and the host's villain aura +40. Crack! A broken brick turned into powder under Yin Yuntian's big hand. One was the woman he admired, and the other was his fiancée who had just broken off their engagement. The two of them were right in front of him, fighting over another man. Of course, Yin Yuntian couldn't stay calm. After Wang Haoran returned to the place where he previously sketched, he began to pretend to draw. Ning Aoxue and Feng Xuanzu stood behind and watched. They didn't say anything for fear of disturbing Wang Haoran. Wang Haoran was halfway through his painting when he felt his phone vibrate. He excused himself and went to the bathroom. After leaving the vision of Feng Xuanzu and Ning Aoxue, he saw Yu Ning. Yin Xian is awake, Yu Ning reported. Lead the way. The two people on the other side were still waiting. Wang Haoran couldn't delay for too long. Yu Ning nodded and immediately brought Wang Haoran to a bedroom. In front of the mirror, a beautiful woman was tidying up her hair that was a little messy due to her rest. Hearing the movement, Yin Xian turned her head and looked. First, she looked at Yu Ning. Then, her gaze was attracted by the man beside Yu Ning. With one look, she couldn't take her eyes off him. Ding! The host has used Charm Aura on the supporting female, lead Yin Xian. Yin Xuan's favorability has been raised to the maximum. A few minutes later, Wang Haoran left. Yu Ning, who is he? Yin Xian walked to the bedroom door and looked at Wang Haoran's back. She seemed to have lost her soul and asked her good friend. Yu Ning smiled and immediately whispered to Yin Xian. Wang Haoran returned to the place where he was sketching. I'm suddenly a little tired. Let's stop here for today. What he wanted to do had been done. Naturally, there was no need to stay. I'll help you pack up. Feng Xuanzu smiled and took the initiative to help Wang Haoran tidy up the drawing tools. I'll help too, Ning Aoxue also said politely. Wang Haoran stood aside and didn't need to do anything. After packing up, the three walked out of the old house. Haoran, I know Yin Tian too well. Someone gave you trouble for no reason. I'm afraid that he'll be jealous and want to deal with you. During this time, let me accompany you at all times. While speaking, Feng Xuanzu looked at Ning Aoxue with displeasure and said to Wang Haoran with some worry. On the side, Ning Aoxue heard this and couldn't help but be secretly surprised. She had fought with Wang Haoran last night. She was far from being his opponent. How could Yin Yuntian be qualified to find trouble? It seemed that Feng Xuanzu thought that Wang Haoran was an ordinary person. Ning Aoxue had this thought in her mind. Then she remembered that Jiang Gaoxian also mentioned that Wang Haoran was very low-key and didn't want to fight in front of others. It was normal that Feng Xuanzu didn't know Wang Haoran's strength. Thinking of this, Ning Aoxue also decided to hide Wang Haoran's strength. That shouldn't be the case. Miss Ning and I are completely innocent. We didn't do anything at all. It was Yin Yuntian who misunderstood. You can go and explain it to him. Wang Haoran didn't want to have someone following him all the time, so he tactfully refused. It's useless. Yin Yuntian is a very egotistical person. Even if you explain, he might not listen. Feng Xuanzu insisted. So, let me protect you. Otherwise, I won't be able to eat or sleep in peace. It's my fault. Let me protect you. Ning Aoxue didn't want to see Feng Xuanzu being so close to Wang Haoran, so she also joined in the fun. It's broad daylight. Yin Yuntian won't dare to do anything to me. You can rest assured. Nothing will happen. Wang Haoran shook his head. What about at night? It's dark and windy. With Yin Yuntian's strength, it's too easy for him to deal with you. I must protect you. Feng Xuanzu's attitude was firm. Wang Haoran felt a headache. After thinking for a while, he had to take a step back and said, How about this? It's broad daylight. I go to crowded places. Yin Yuntian won't dare to do anything to me, so you don't need to follow me. At night, you can protect me according to the situation. All right. Feng Xuanzu reluctantly agreed, and then said seriously, Your villa is quite big. I'll move in for a while. It's convenient for me to protect you. The villa is big, isn't it? Then it seems that one more person can live there. Ning Aoxue interrupted. I can protect him. You don't have to bother. Feng Xuanzu was unhappy. If I'm not wrong, your cultivation of genuine qi should not be as good as Yin Yuntian's. If Yin Yuntian is determined to do something, you can't stop him, but I can. Ning Aoxue didn't point out Wang Haoran's real strength. She refuted Feng Xuansu reasonably. Feng Xuansu was a little speechless when she heard it. Out of her concern for Wang Haoran, even if she didn't like Ning Aoshua, she didn't say anything against it. Seeing that the two had reached an agreement, Wang Haoran was a little depressed. At the same time, he was inexplicably looking forward to it. He lived alone in that villa. Occasionally, some people came to visit, but they didn't live there. Most of the time, it was a little lonely. But now, there were 3 more guests. It was going to be lively. Chapter 352. Night. You're back. Dinner's ready. Feng Anna heard the noise. She bent down and opened the door respectfully, wanting to welcome Wang Haoran in. Then, when she straightened up, she saw not only Wang Haoran, but also 2 beautiful women. One of the women she didn't know was so beautiful that it made her jealous. However, she didn't look at her for long because she noticed an acquaintance beside her. Aoshua, Anna? The 2 of them called out to each other almost at the same time. Both of them sounded very surprised. Ning Aoshua and Feng Anna were in the same boat. They had known each other for a long time, but they hadn't seen each other for a long time. Who would have thought that they would meet under such circumstances today? Why is there a woman in your house? Feng Xuanzu was also surprised when she saw Feng Anna. Wang Haoran had already thought of an excuse on his way here. Facing Feng Xuanzu's questioning gaze, he replied calmly, "This is my friend. This is my friend. She's Feng Anna. I even asked you to help her. She was grateful to me and wanted to give me money. However, I didn't lack money, so she said that she would be my nanny for a few months. I live outside and don't know how to cook. I do need it, so I agreed." Feng Xuanzu nodded slightly after hearing the explanation. She had heard that Wang Haoran had a favor to ask of Feng Anna. She agreed without hesitation and hadn't seen Feng Anna before. "Thank you for your help." Feng Anna was also smart. After hearing Wang Haoran's words, she immediately reacted and thanked Feng Xuanzu. "No need. I'm doing this for Haoran's sake," Feng Xuanzu said casually. "I still have to say thank you." Feng Anna smiled kindly. "Anna, the thing you've been thinking about," Ning Aoshua said in an inquiring tone. "I've already dissolved my engagement with Yin Yuntian. Now, I'm free." Feng Anna subconsciously paused at the end of her sentence, and then said happily. Although she had broken off the engagement with Yin Yuntian, she wasn't actually free. It could be said that he had just left the wolf's den and entered the tiger's mouth. However, Feng Anna didn't dare to reveal this emotion in order to avoid angering Wang Haoran and causing her to suffer. Feng Anna concealed her true feelings very well. Neither Ning Aoshua nor Feng Xuanzu saw anything unusual. "That's great. We both get what we want." Ning Aoshua smiled and went forward to grab Feng Anna's hand. "Has your engagement with Yin Yuntian been annulled?" Feng Anna was surprised. "Yes, today." "You don't know how embarrassed Yin Yuntian was during the day." Ning Aoshua joked. "Congratulations." Feng Anna knew that this was Ning Aoshua's wish, so she congratulated her sincerely. "Same to you." Ning Aoshua returned a smile. "Don't stand by the door. Let's go in," Wang Haoran said. They walked into the villa and came to the dining table. The dishes on the table were sumptuous, but there was not enough rice. However, with so many dishes, it was enough for the 4 of them. "Anna, why don't you sit?" Seeing Feng Anna standing, Ning Aoshua asked doubtfully. Feng Anna didn't sit. She didn't dare to sit. However, she said naturally on the surface, "I've already eaten. You can eat." Wang Haoran had already started to eat. After taking a bite, he found that the taste was a little good. He said in surprise, "Did you buy it in a big hotel?" "When I was studying, I learned cooking from some international famous chefs." Feng Anna replied. As a woman used by the family for marriage, Feng Anna's parents let her learn various skills when she was very young, such as playing the piano, dancing, cooking, and so on. She dabbled in all of them and was very good at it. The purpose was naturally to mold Feng Anna into a real talented and beautiful lady from a famous family, so as to win the favor of her husband and seek benefits for her family in the future. If Feng Anna became a wife in the future, she would definitely be the kind of woman who could do everything in the hall and the kitchen. Of course, the heavy work was excluded, because she had to take care of her hands and couldn't let them become rough. Wang Haoran was quite surprised by Feng Anna's cooking skills. Eat a little more. You two know each other. Shouldn't you talk about the old days? Wang Haoran knew that Feng Anna didn't have the courage to eat in advance. Out of the surprise brought by Feng Anna, he was generous and wouldn't let Feng Anna have no food to eat. That's right. Feng Anna agreed naturally. In fact, she was quite hungry. After dinner, Feng Anna began to clean the table. Feng Xuansu and Ning Aoxue also helped. No, let me do it. Feng Anna knew her identity. How dare she let the two guests help? It doesn't matter. Feng Xuansu said with a smile. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Ning Aoxue also said. Both of them wanted to show their virtuous side and insisted on helping. Feng Anna was also very helpless and could only let them do it. Many hands made light work. The dishes and chopsticks were cleaned quickly and the table was wiped clean. As for washing the dishes, they didn't need to do it because there was an automatic dishwasher. In order to protect her delicate hands, Feng Anna specially went to buy it during the day. After they sat and rested in the hall for a while, Feng Xuansu and Feng Anna went to pick their own bedrooms. The villa had 2 floors. The first floor was the kitchen, dining room, gym, and so on. The second floor was all bedrooms. Wang Haoran and Feng Anna each took one. Now, Feng Xuansu and Ning Aoxue also took one each. Feng Xuansu and Ning Aoxue chose the 2 bedrooms next to Wang Haoran's bedroom. The reason was very good. It was convenient to protect Wang Haoran. Feng Anna was a little confused, but she could see that the 2 were going to stay here. Feng Anna was quite happy about this. If there were people here, someone wouldn't torture her casually. Feng Anna was secretly happy and went to wash some fruits for everyone. This strawberry is so sweet. Try it. Feng Xuansu sent a strawberry to Wang Haoran's mouth. It's quite sweet, Wang Haoran said after taking a bite. Then, he wanted to eat the strawberry in Feng Xuansu's hand. However, Feng Xuansu suddenly retracted her hand and stuffed the half-bitten strawberry into her mouth. Soon, she was going to bite it and swallow it. The surrounding atmosphere suddenly stagnated. Ning Aoxue and Feng Anna both stared at Feng Xuansu with their eyes wide open. Ding! The host made the female lead Ning Aoxue jealous. Gained 500 villain points. Feng Xuansu was calm and at ease. Because this was her husband, she felt at ease. But in Ning Aoxue's eyes, it was not the case. She felt that Feng Xuansu was very shameless and seducing men. Ning Aoxue was not good at this and had never done this kind of operation. But as a woman, she could learn it. She took a strawberry and imitated Feng Xuansu's operation. Feng Xuansu stared at Ning Aoxue. Ding! The host made the female lead Feng Xuansu jealous. Gained 500 villain points. Chapter 353. In one of the villas, there was a scene of 2 jealous women competing for attention. In another villa not far from here, a lonely young man posted a rental advertisement on the computer. This man was Yi Qiu. Previously, there was a fire in the villa, which put the rental matter on hold. But now, the villa had been renovated, so it was available for rent again. This was the life that Yi Qiu dreamed of after his retirement. It had even become an obsession of his. After posting the rental advertisement, Yi Qiu breathed a sigh of relief. But it was still a little early. He clicked on the mysterious folder on his computer and prepared to watch a movie to kill time. But as soon as he started the movie, a picture popped up on the smart surveillance camera connected to his computer. Someone had sneakily climbed over the wall and sneaked into his villa. This person was agile and had a bucket in his hand, which seemed to be filled with oil. After the fire in the villa for no reason last time, Yi Qiu suspected that it was man-made, so he installed a secret surveillance camera. Now, he finally caught the culprit. Yi Qiu's eyes flashed coldly, and he immediately got up from the computer. However, as soon as he came out of the villa, the person was very sensitive. He turned around and ran away, and soon disappeared. Wang Haoran was happy when he suddenly felt his phone vibrate. He secretly checked the message and said to the people around him, "I have to go. I need to go to the bathroom." Then, he got up and left everyone's sight. He went to the bathroom and called Bufian. I wanted to set a fire just now, but I was discovered. I didn't expect Yi Qiu to be so powerful. I really underestimated him, Bufian said on the phone. Of course, he is powerful. He is an international assassin, Wang Haoran said. So he's in the same industry as me. His name is Yi Qiu. Is he a leaf-nosed autumn who retired not long ago? Bufian thought of something and was surprised. You know him? Wang Haoran asked. I haven't met him before, but as a fellow assassin, I have heard of his name. This a leaf-nosed autumn is very powerful. In his career, his mission completion rate is 100%, just like mine. Bufian replied to Wang Haoran's question and asked, should I continue to monitor them? Now that we've alerted the enemy, there's no need to keep an eye on them. Go and help me collect evidence of a leaf knowing autumn's fall. Wang Haoran wanted to change his strategy. Yi Qiu was the main character of a killer landlord. Although he had retired now, the things he had done in the past were all shady. If he was convicted, he would definitely suffer. Got it, Bufian immediately replied. As someone in the same industry, she knew the inside story of this industry too well. She also had a lot of connections, so it wasn't difficult to find evidence of a single leaf knowing autumn. The difficult part was how to catch Yi Qiu with the evidence. However, Bufian knew that Wang Haoran would worry about this matter. She only needed to collect evidence. After ending his conversation with Bufian, Wang Haoran left the washroom. However, after taking a few steps, he saw Feng Xuansu walking over. Ew, why do you go to the bathroom so often? Feng Xuansu looked at Wang Haoran suspiciously. After looking behind her and seeing that there was no one else, she lowered her voice and asked, are you feeling unwell? This question was rather tactful, but Wang Haoran still understood. During the day, when he was in Yan Yuntian's house, he needed to do something secretly. Hence, he used the excuse of needing to go to the bathroom to fool Feng Xuansu several times. Now that it was nighttime, he came again. My body is fine. It's normal. I'm not weak anywhere, Wang Haoran replied. Luo Qingqian's third sister, Bian Suan, is a miracle doctor. If you're really unwell, you can ask her to take a look. After all, they live very close to here. Feng Xuansu didn't believe Wang Haoran's words. She even came up with an idea. I'm really not weak. My body is fine. Wang Haoran didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Are you really all right? It's not good to hide your illness for fear of treatment. Don't delay the treatment for your so-called face. Feng Xuansu was concerned about her husband. At the same time, it was also related to her future happiness. Hence, she couldn't help but nag a little. Wang Haoran felt helpless. He shook his head and couldn't be bothered to explain. He walked to the living room. However, in the living room, Feng Anna welcomed a guest. Xiao Qianwei was a little confused. When she saw Wang Haoran, she asked, I missed you, so I came to see you. You, why are there so many people here? Feng Anna suddenly felt that she seemed to have done something wrong. Her heart skipped a beat. However, Wang Haoran ignored her. Or rather, it was inconvenient for him to talk to her. They're all my friends. They're also my tenants, Wang Haoran explained to Xiao Qianwei. Xiao Qianwei replied with an "oh," and didn't think much of it. If there was only one woman here, she might suspect something. However, if there were 3 women, she definitely wouldn't be suspicious. She didn't believe that there would be 3 women in a golden nest. Moreover, these 3 women were very beautiful. They must be picky and had their own preferences. It was impossible for all of them to like her boyfriend. Feng Xuansu had been to Lu Yu's villa before. She also knew that Xiao Qianwei was Wang Haoran's girlfriend. When she saw Xiao Qianwei, she wasn't surprised. On the contrary, Ning Aoxue was stunned. See? So give up on your idea. Don't ruin other people's relationship. Feng Xuansu saw Ning Aoxue's expression. She moved closer to her and persuaded her in a low voice. She wanted Ning Aoxue to leave the scene and not get involved. After a moment of daze, Ning Aoxue also came back to her senses. She replied in a low voice, "Then what do you mean? You know that he has a girlfriend. Why did you get close to him on purpose?" "I'm different. I'm him." Feng Xuansu wanted to say everything. However, when the words reached her mouth, she stopped and changed her words. "I'm willing to be a concubine. I don't mind. However, You're the precious daughter of the Ning family in Songzhou. What a coincidence. I don't mind either. Ning Aoshue didn't wait for her to finish and continued. Born in the secluded Jianghu, she had seen many wives and concubines. She was quite open-minded about this. Moreover, among all the young talents in the secluded Jianghu, except for Wang Haoran, who was worthy of her. After Yi Qiu didn't catch anyone, he returned to the villa and pondered. Previously, when his old house was demolished, he had some suspicions that someone was targeting him. There were so many old houses that passed the test. However, it was his house that had problems. Now, the new house he just bought was set on fire once. It would happen again. Someone must be targeting him. His enemies were not few in number. However, after retirement, he quietly returned to the country. No one knew where he was. Thus, it should not be an enemy he encountered in his career. It should be an enemy he provoked after he returned. Could it be that rich second generation? Yi Qiu recalled some things that happened after he returned to the country. Soon, he locked onto a person. Chapter 354. The next morning, Qiu Qianwei looked radiant. She stayed here last night and slept soundly. However, Feng Xuansu and Ning Aoshue next door were tossing and turning all night. They almost didn't close their eyes. That was because they heard some strange noises in Wang Haoran's room last night. After hearing that, Feng Xuansu's doubts about Yi Qiu's health faded away. She was happy and scared at the same time. After Qiu Qianwei got up, she saw Feng Xuansu and Ning Aoshue looking at her strangely. She felt embarrassed, but she braced herself and pretended to be calm. As long as she didn't feel embarrassed, they would feel embarrassed. Feng Ina got up early and made breakfast. They sat together and ate breakfast. After breakfast, Wang Haoran went to class slowly. When he arrived at the classroom, Lu Ming suddenly came forward and reported, "Boss, I just met Yi Qiu. He hit you again." Wang Haoran looked at Lu Ming from head to toe, but he didn't see any injuries on him. "He didn't hit me." His attitude was quite good. He said that it was a misunderstanding and asked me not to take it to heart, Lu Ming said. Wang Haoran was suspicious. How could a character like Yi Qiu give face to a villain like Lu Ming? There seemed to be something fishy about this. Did he trick you into telling him that I hired a lawyer to sue him behind his back? Of course not. I'm not that easy to trick. I didn't say a word about you, boss, Lu Ming said solemnly. Wang Haoran took a deep look at Lu Ming and realized that he didn't seem to be lying. However, he still kept an eye on him. After all, Yi Qiu was the main character of an assassin. It was normal for him to have some incredible means. For example, Yi Qiu had hypnotized Lu Ming and asked him about some things. Lu Ming might not even know what he said. After a day of classes, Wang Haoran thought of Song Jinyu, so he contacted her to see how she was doing. The two chatted on the phone for a while. Song Jinyu was grateful for Wang Haoran's help and invited Wang Haoran to eat. Wang Haoran hadn't seen her for a while, so he naturally agreed. A moment later, the two met at the school gate. Song Jinyu brought Wang Haoran to a barbecue restaurant near the school. "This is the only place I can afford to treat you to," Song Jinyu said, somewhat embarrassed. "This place is pretty good." Wang Haoran waved his hand casually. Wang Haoran had been invited by Mu Zhao to eat in this barbecue restaurant several times. It was clean and hygienic, and the taste was quite good. The two of them ordered some barbecue and 2 servings of fried noodles. While they were waiting, Wang Haoran asked, "Is your studies going well?" Not only did it go smoothly, it went way too smoothly. Song Jinyu appeared very happy. Because of Wang Haoran's greeting, Ji Shuiyao was especially attentive when teaching Song Jinyu. Song Jinyu was also very smart and learned very quickly. It wouldn't be long before she could take the exams. "That's great. I wish you success in the postgraduate entrance exam," Wang Haoran said. "Speaking of which, it's all thanks to you. If it weren't for such a good tutor, I don't know how long it would take," Song Jinyu said gratefully. "We're so close. You don't have to be so formal, right?" Wang Haoran smiled. "Okay, then I won't be so formal with you." Song Jinyu also skipped the formalities. It was still evening, so there weren't many people in the barbecue restaurant. Soon, some barbecue was served. Wang Haoran was about to start eating when he keenly sensed that someone was staring at him. This thought popped up in his mind, and he glanced around. Soon, he noticed a suspicious person. The person was wearing a sun hat that covered most of his face, but it couldn't block his X-ray vision. It was Yi Qiu. Wang Haoran immediately determined that Yi Qiu had indeed received some information from Lu Ming. At the very least, Yi Qiu knew that he was the mastermind behind Lu Ming's lawsuit. Moreover, because Bufian's traces were discovered, Yi Qiu might have guessed that the problems in the old house and the new house were caused by him. Wang Haoran was a little dissatisfied with this, because Yi Qiu, the sheep, didn't obediently provide its wool and actually ran out of the sheep pen. "Why aren't you eating?" Song Jinyu asked curiously when she saw Wang Haoran holding a squid skewer without eating. "Who asked you to be so beautiful? You're a feast for the eyes. I can only look at you." Wang Haoran was used to sweet-talking. "You're so glib-tongued. If it were another girl opposite you, she would definitely say the same, right?" Song Jinyu was secretly delighted, but on the surface, she was slightly dissatisfied. "Of course not. If it were an ugly girl, I wouldn't even look at her." Wang Haoran curled his lips and added, "If it were an ugly girl, then I definitely wouldn't eat with her." While they were talking, the barbecue shop owner's daughter was preparing to send 2 servings of fried noodles to the table. When she heard Wang Haoran's words, her body obviously trembled, and her hand slipped, and a serving of fried noodles directly fell on Wang Haoran's coat. The bright coat was stained with a lot of grease. I'm sorry. The barbecue shop owner's daughter bowed her head and apologized repeatedly. And just as she was doing this, the bangs covering most of her face also scattered a little, revealing a small part of her face with a black birthmark. Wang Haoran was shocked. He and Mu Zhaozhao had been to this barbecue shop several times, and he had also seen the owner's daughter. He had thought that she deliberately kept her bangs so long because of her personality, but it turned out that it was to cover the birthmark on her face. Wang Haoran glanced at the birthmark and frowned subconsciously because it was really ugly. The speaker didn't mean it, but the listener took it seriously. He just mentioned the word ugly girl just now. Presumably the owner's daughter was very sensitive and felt very uncomfortable after hearing it, so she didn't hold the fried noodles firmly. "Wow, this is too ugly. It's really scary. I almost vomited what I just ate." "It's not your fault that you're ugly, but it's your fault that you came out to scare people. You ugly girl. You made young Master Wang covered in grease. Why don't you kneel down and apologize?" At the table next to them, several freshmen who knew Wang Haoran were talking nonsense. When Wang Haoran heard this, he couldn't help but feel moved. Why did the scene feel like the female protagonist was being bullied by a little villain? But the owner's daughter was so ugly. How could she be the female protagonist? No, it was possible. Wang Haoran thought in his mind, and he also carefully looked at the owner's daughter, and soon found that she had amazing curves, and her facial features and face shape were also very delicate. If there was no birthmark, she would definitely be a great beauty. Wang Haoran's eyes narrowed slightly, and he suddenly smelled a trick. Chapter 355. The female lead was being bullied, and the protagonist was most likely nearby. But this protagonist obviously couldn't be Yi Qiu. Yi Qiu was the protagonist of a killer landlord, and he couldn't cure diseases. This female lead with a birthmark on her face should be in Lu Chen's main plot. Think about it. This female lead had grown up with such a large birthmark on her face. She must be extremely sensitive and fragile inside. If the protagonist cured the birthmark on her face, wouldn't she repay him with her body? Wang Haoran thought as he scanned the surroundings. He even used his X-ray vision to search for Lu Chen, but there was no trace of Lu Chen within a few hundred meters. He couldn't help but be suspicious, but then he quickly remembered something. Jiang Gaoxian had Lu Chen's burlap sack on his back, which affected the plot. Lu Chen's little brother was fed to the dogs. He should be recuperating during this time. It would be difficult for him to even walk, let alone save the damsel in distress. Looks like I'll have to do this myself. Wang Haoran thought. Ugly, I'm talking to you. Hurry up and apologize to our young Master Wang. Young Master Wang's jacket is a famous brand. It's at least a few thousand yuan, and you still have to pay for it. The boys at the next table were still nagging. The boss's daughter was ridiculed. Her eyes were red, and tears rolled in her eyes. but she forced herself not to cry. Young Master Wang, I'm the boss here. My surname is Yu. It's all my daughter's fault for being so clumsy. I'm sorry. How much do you want to pay? We'll pay. Sure, Qing. Hurry up and apologize. The boss and his wife heard the commotion. They put down what they were doing and hurried over to apologize in a humble manner. They were running a small business. How could they afford to offend the rich second generation in front of them? They immediately wanted to pay to avoid disaster. Otherwise, this place would not be peaceful. Wang Haoran didn't speak immediately. Instead, he stood up from his seat. The boss's daughter was so scared that she took a step back. She thought Wang Haoran was going to hit her. However, what surprised her was that Wang Haoran went straight to the next table and slapped each of the boys who had a nasty mouth 10 times. The boys were stunned. They didn't know what was going on. The owner's family of 3 also looked at each other, and they all revealed surprised expressions. Apologize to the girl. Wang Haoran ordered the boys who had bad mouths. Although the boys didn't understand the situation, they were afraid of being slapped again and hurriedly apologized to the boss's daughter. After apologizing, he wanted to leave dejectedly. Stop! Don't you have to pay for your food? Wang Haoran stopped them for a moment. The boys turned back and ran away immediately after giving the money, afraid that they would be beaten again. The boss and his family only came back to their senses after the boys ran out of sight. The way the boss's daughter looked at Wang Haoran changed. Ding! The favorability of the female, lead Yu, Qing, towards the host has increased by 20. Current favorability is 40, very friendly. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Reward, 1,500 villain points. Young Master Wang, I'm really sorry for dirtying your clothes. How much do you want to pay? The boss was still a little nervous. It doesn't matter. I'll just wash it. You can go about your business. Wang Haoran didn't care. Thank you, young Master Wang. Thank you. When the boss and his wife heard this, they were finally relieved and couldn't help but smile. There were still customers in the shop, and there was barbecue on the grill. The two immediately went to work. But before leaving, the boss's wife said to her daughter, Qing, help young Master Wang wash his clothes. Hearing this, Qing said to Wang Haoran in a weak voice, if it's greasy for a long time, it won't be easy to wash it. If it's convenient, can you take off your coat? Wang Haoran nodded, took off his coat, and handed it to her. Please wait a moment, Qing said in a low voice. Then she turned around and walked into the shop with the clothes. I'm going to wash my hands. Wang Haoran greeted Song Jinyu with a smile and caught up with Qing. Hearing the footsteps behind her, Qing looked back. I got some oil on my hands, so I came to wash my hands. Wang Haoran explained. Well, come with me. Qing nodded and led the way. They came to a bathroom on the 2nd floor. Wang Haoran walked to the wash basin, pretended to turn on the tap, washed his hands, and then stepped aside. Qing stepped forward, soaked the greasy part of the coat with water, and then took some detergent and began to rub the coat. Wang Haoran stood next to her and didn't leave. Instead, he looked at Qing from behind. Before, he just had a rough look and didn't pay much attention. Now that he used his X-ray vision, he saw very clearly. He was surprised to find that except for the birthmark on Qing's face, the rest of her body couldn't be more perfect, especially the curves below her waist. Just looking at them made one's blood rush to the brain. Qing, who was washing clothes, seemed to notice something. She turned around and saw Wang Haoran looking at her. She immediately lowered her head and subconsciously checked her bangs to see if the ugly birthmark on her face was covered. Her behavior and demeanor showed her inferiority. You are actually very beautiful. Be more confident. Wang Haoran comforted her in a very warm voice, trying to ease her inferiority complex. Qing was stunned. Then she lowered her head and said in a weak voice, if I'm beautiful, there won't be any ugly girls in the world. Don't always focus on your shortcomings. You actually have a lot of advantages. For example, your skin is very delicate, very white, and your figure is very good. I don't know how many girls envy you. Haven't you noticed it? Wang Haoran said. But these so-called advantages can all be ruined by a single flaw. Qing subconsciously touched the ugly birthmark on her face and said sadly, There will always be people who appreciate your good looks and ignore your shortcomings. Wang Haoran said in a warm voice. I'm so ugly. If others look at me a few more times, they will probably have nightmares. Yu Shiqing laughed at herself. Wang Haoran saw that his persuasion didn't work. He couldn't help but feel depressed. Then he took a step closer to her and said seriously, absolutely not. For example, I think you're very good. Yu Shiqing was stunned. Of course, she didn't believe such words. Suddenly, she lifted her thick bangs with her hand, revealing the ugly birthmark across half of her face. Do you still think so? She seemed to want to expose Wang Haoran's lie. At this time, they were only half a meter apart, so Wang Haoran could see it clearly. To be honest, he did feel uncomfortable. After all, this birthmark was really ugly. However, Wang Haoran forcibly restrained this emotion. The source of Yu Shiqing's inferiority complex was the ugly birthmark on her face. However, Wang Haoran couldn't cure it. It was also unknown whether Biansuan could cure it or not. But one thing was certain, Lu Chun could definitely cure it. But at that time, Yu Shiqing would become a great beauty, and the difficulty of conquering her would increase exponentially. Yu Shiqing, who was still an ugly girl, had the weakest psychological defense. She was the easiest to deal with. Sacrifice a little. Anyway, it's not like losing a piece of meat. Wang Haoran came up with this idea. He threw caution to the wind and pressed her against the wall. Then he lowered his head and closed his eyes, moving his face forward. In his mind, he was imagining Yu Shiqing's beautiful appearance without the birthmark. Suddenly attacked, Yu Shiqing's eyes widened. She was a little helpless. But soon, under the skillful manipulation of someone, she slowly immersed herself in her emotions. Ding! The favorability of the female lead Yu Shiqing towards the host has increased by 10. The current favorability is 50 admiration. Ding! The host has influenced the direction of the plot. The reward is 1,800 villain points. Lu Chen's protagonist aura -90. The host's villain aura +90. Chapter 356. In the barbecue restaurant, Song Jinyu was eating barbecue while waiting. Not long after, a person came to her side. She tilted her head and found that this person's face looked familiar. You're that violent criminal. Song Jinyu quickly remembered. I hit him because I wanted to help you. Yi Qiu explained. It's all in the past. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Go away. I don't want to talk to you. Song Jinyu's face was cold as she kept a distance from him. I'm here to persuade you to stay away from that rich second generation. He's not a good person. Yi Qiu tried to persuade her. Don't slander my friend. Just now, his clothes were dirted by the shop owner's daughter. He didn't even blame her. Instead, he taught a lesson to the guys next to him. Song Jinyu retorted. He must be up to no good. He wants to hit on that girl. Yi Qiu was far away and didn't see Yu Shiqing's face clearly. Therefore, he took the opportunity to slander Wang Haoran. Song Jinyu heard this and sneered. If the shop owner's daughter was beautiful, it might make sense. But she wasn't. In fact, she was ugly. Was there something wrong with Wang Haoran? There were so many beautiful girls around him. Why did he have to hit on a shop owner's daughter? However, Song Jinyu only thought these words in her heart. She didn't intend to say it out loud. Are you leaving or not? If not, I'll call the police. Are you harassing me? Song Jinyu took out her phone and was about to dial a number. No, I'll leave. Yi Qiu had spent so much money on the lawsuit last time. It had already traumatized him. He really didn't want to get involved in this kind of thing. In the bathroom, the water from the faucet was running. The half-washed coat also fell to the ground. Do you believe me now? Wang Haoran stood up straight and asked Yu Shiqing with a charming smile. Yu Shiqing didn't dare to look at him directly. Her face and ears were red. She only felt that her heart was about to jump out of her throat. So, you have to be confident. Wang Haoran comforted her again and then left. As for the matter of asking Biansuan to treat her, he didn't mention it now. After all, he had just kissed her. Now he suddenly said that her birthmark could be removed and she would become very, very beautiful. If Yu Shiqing heard this, wouldn't she suspect his intentions? The treatment of the birthmark was imperative, but it had to be delayed. At the very least, he could bring it up the next time they met. That Yi Qiu just came. Wang Haoran had just returned to the barbecue shop and sat down when Song Jinyu suddenly said, "What did he say?" Wang Haoran asked. "He said you wanted to court the shop owner's daughter," Song Jinyu whispered. Wang Haoran raised his eyebrows. Whether or not Yi Qiu was a fortune teller, how could he tell? This person is crazy. If you see him in the future, don't talk to him. Just call the police. Wang Haoran said. Got it. Song Jinyu nodded. The two continued to eat barbecue. When they were almost done, Yu Shiqing came down from the second floor to the first floor. Do you want to take your clothes away directly or wait for them to dry? Yu Shiqing asked cautiously. Help me dry them. I'll come to you to get them, Wang Haoran said. Okay. Yu Shiqing agreed. She was secretly delighted. In this way, she would be able to see him again soon. However, when she was secretly delighted, Yu Shiqing couldn't help but take a few more glances at the beautiful woman beside Wang Haoran. She suddenly became dejected. Wang Haoran was paying attention to Yu Shiqing's expression. After noticing her mood, he immediately paid the bill and deliberately said to Song Jinyu, Miss Song, thank you for your treat. Don't mention it. It's my pleasure. Song Jinyu didn't think much and responded with a smile. Hearing this, Yu Shiqing felt a burst of joy in her heart. It turned out that this beautiful woman was his teacher. That was to say, the two of them didn't have that kind of relationship. Wang Haoran sent Song Jinyu back to school. Along the way, Yi Qiu secretly followed him. Wang Haoran pretended not to know. After saying goodbye to Song Jinyu, it was already dark. He went to the villa. Yi Qiu quietly followed until Wang Haoran entered the villa. The sky was getting darker and darker. Yi Qiu found a night vision telescope and observed the scene in Wang Haoran's villa through the window. Soon, he found that in addition to Wang Haoran, there were 3 beautiful women living in the villa. Yi Qiu suddenly felt a burst of jealousy. Wasn't this the retirement life he had always dreamed of? If it weren't for Wang Haoran's interference, he would have already recruited beautiful tenants and lived a carefree life. I planned to retire, but if I could tolerate being bullied, then I wouldn't be Yi Qiu. Under the dual effect of jealousy and hatred, Yi Qiu had already sentenced Wang Haoran to death in his heart. After this idea came to him, he immediately went to prepare things. Less than an hour later, Yi Qiu found a venomous mini-banded kite. Yi Qiu didn't want to make a big scene, so he naturally couldn't use physical tools to kill people. Therefore, he created an accident. There was a certain amount of vegetation in this villa area. If a venomous snake entered the house and bit someone to death, it would make sense. Yi Qiu was very confident that he could create an accident scene without leaving any evidence. It could be said that no one would know. After everything was ready, Yi Qiu quietly sneaked into Wang Haoran's villa. However, Yi Qiu didn't know that when he was a few hundred meters away from the villa, he was discovered by Wang Haoran. You're really something. You want to use a snake to bite me. Wang Haoran used his X-ray vision and saw that Yi Qiu was holding a mini-banded kite in a small cage. He immediately guessed Yi Qiu's intention. After discovering that Yi Qiu was following him during the day, he had been keeping an eye on him, but he didn't directly kill Yi Qiu, because Yi Qiu, the protagonist, couldn't threaten his life. After possessing true qi for 100 years, his perception was terrifyingly sharp. Even if Yi Qiu was a few hundred meters away and assassinated with a gun, he would have enough time to react and dodge the attack. In Wang Haoran's eyes, Yi Qiu, the protagonist of the killer landlord style, was just a sheep. He didn't make a move during the day because he hoped that Yi Qiu would return to the sheep pen and obediently provide the wool. But who would have thought that Yi Qiu not only ran out of the sheep pen, but also wanted to bite someone? Since that was the case, he could only mourn for Yi Qiu. Of course, Wang Haoran didn't plan to do it himself, because as Yi Qiu approached, Feng Xuansu and Ning Aoshue both noticed it. The two of them were guarding against Yin Yantian, so they always paid attention to the movements around the villa. Although Yi Qiu was a first-class assassin and was cautious, he still couldn't hide from them. After all, Feng Xuansu and Ning Aoshue's martial strength was too high. Dealing with Yi Qiu was simply a one-dimensional blow. When Yi Qiu sneaked into the villa's garden and was waiting for an opportunity to make a move, two figures appear behind him. Yichio was slow for a second. He seemed to have noticed something and turned around in shock. Two fists rapidly enlarged in his vision. Chapter 357. A moment later, Yichio was tied up and sent to Wang Haoren. You look familiar. You're Yichio, aren't you? Wang Haoren smiled mockingly. Yichio was very aggrieved. He never thought that Wang Haoren would have two powerful bodyguards. What he thought was a sure thing had turned out to be a failure. He has a mini-banded Krite with him. Looks like he has sinister intentions. Feng Xuansu checked the small bamboo basket that Yichio carried with him and said to Wang Haoren, "Are you trying to kill someone?" Wang Haoren narrowed his eyes and looked at Yichio. "Don't accuse me wrongly. I just saw that the flowers and plants in your villa were growing well, so I wanted to pick some. As for this mini-banded Krite, I bought it to stew it." Yichio quibbled. "At most, you'll sue me for theft." Feng Xuansu was worried about Wang Haoren's safety, so she said, "This guy's intentions are definitely not that simple. In my opinion, we should just—" She made a throat-slitting gesture. Yichio couldn't help but gasp. This beauty looked like a fairy. Wasn't her heart too cruel? We're good citizens. How can we do such a thing? Wang Haoren shook his head with a smile and rejected Feng Xuansu's suggestion. In such a situation, we should call the police. After saying that, he took out his phone and dialed Ling Duanya's number. Yichio heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that. After the call, Wang Haoren went to pour a glass of water, added 2 ingredients, and poured it down Yichio's throat. "What did you put in the water?" Yichio had no choice but to drink it and asked angrily. "Don't worry. It's just ordinary water. I saw that you were thirsty, so I gave you some water. Not only did you not thank me, you even made a fuss." Wang Haoren reprimanded. He picked up a rag and stuffed Yichio's mouth. A moment later, ding! The host has caused Yichio to lose his manhood. The host has received 800 villain points. Yichio's protagonist aura -40, and the host's villain aura +40. Wang Haoren secretly smiled as he successfully received the reward. The reason why he hadn't directly dealt with Yichio was because he wanted to take advantage of him. Not long after, there was some movement outside the villa. Ling Duanya had arrived with her people. Wang Haoren pointed at Yichio, whose mouth was stuffed with a rag and could only stare, and said to Ling Duanya, "Big Sister Police Flower, it's him." "Understood." Ling Duanya nodded heavily. She then asked Wang Haoren about what had happened, and asked her colleagues to take Yichio away. Ding! The host has caused the main character, Yichio, to be captured. The reward is 600 villain points. Yichio's main character aura -30. The host's villain aura +30. "Leave this to me. I will definitely find out the truth," Ling Duanya said to Wang Haoren seriously. "All right, then I'll have to trouble you." "What are you talking about? I'm just doing my job." In an interrogation room, Yichio's hands were cuffed, and he was being interrogated by Ling Duanya and a colleague. "You brought a mini-banded Krite and trespassed into the villa. Did you intend to murder someone? Hurry up and tell us the truth." Ling Duanya slammed the table and angrily asked, "I have no grudge with that person. Why would I want to kill him?" Yichio pretended to laugh. "Is that so? I know that when you were in school, you injured Wang Haoren's classmate. Wang Haoren called the police at that time, which caused you to be sued and spent a lot of legal fees. You were jealous, so you wanted to kill him, right?" Ling Duanya questioned. "That matter made me feel uncomfortable, but if I really wanted revenge, why didn't I look for that student called Lu Ming? After all, he was the one who sued me." Yichio wanted to escape, so he hid the real reason. Ling Duanya didn't know the whole story. Hearing Yichio's words, she felt that it made sense. After thinking for a while, she suddenly said, "But you brought a mini-banded Krite and trespassed into the villa in the middle of the night. Isn't that the truth? I just saw that the flowers and plants in that person's garden were growing quite well, so I climbed over the wall to steal some and plant them in my villa." Yichio still maintained the same excuse. "As for the mini-banded Krite, I bought it to stew." Saying that, he showed a relaxed smile. "At most, I'll be accused of attempted theft. Don't laugh and laugh. We'll find the evidence and bring you to justice." Ling Duanya gritted her teeth and said, "I'm a righteous person. There's nothing to be afraid of." Yi Qiu was fearless. He knew the law. Firstly, he didn't have enough motive to kill. At least in Ling Duanya's view, the motive was insufficient. Secondly, there was insufficient evidence. It was impossible to conclude that he killed someone with just a mini-banded kite. If this matter continued to develop, at most, he would be charged with attempted theft. And because he stole flowers and plants, the charge was very light. He could use financial compensation. It wouldn't be long before he could get out. At that time, he would be a good man again. This time, I was careless. When I get out, it'll be the time for you to die. Yi Qiu secretly thought in his heart. He didn't know beforehand that the target had 2 powerful bodyguards by her side. If he had known, he wouldn't have used this method at all. Instead, he would have gone to the black market to buy a gun. There was one a few hundred meters away. With one pull of the trigger, he could reap a life. After Ling Duanya's interrogation was fruitless, she left to reorganize the evidence with her colleagues and discuss the case. Time passed quietly. Unknowingly, it was already almost 48 hours. Ling Duanya and her colleagues opened the door of the interrogation room and walked in. "Beauty, isn't it time to let me go?" Yi Qiu had been counting the time. After seeing Ling Duanya, he couldn't help but tease her. At present, there was insufficient evidence. He had only committed a trivial crime. 48 hours of detention was already the maximum. After this time, he would be free. As for compensation, it was not a problem at all. After all, he was also a rich man. No matter how expensive those flowers and plants were, he could still afford to pay for them. "Don't be so smug. Sooner or later, you'll be punished," Ling Duanya said angrily. Seeing this, Yi Qiu was even more certain that he wouldn't be in any trouble. He paused for a moment, as if waiting for something, and then said 48 hours is up. He waved the lock in his hand. Ling Duanya was very unwilling, but she still had to follow the procedure. She took the key unhappily and wanted to open the lock. Sister Ling," a colleague suddenly rushed into the interrogation room. "What's wrong?" Ling Duanya paused and asked. "Someone sent some things anonymously." Her colleague handed her a thick stack of documents. Ling Duanya picked up the documents and looked at them. Her gloomy face suddenly revealed a look of ecstasy. When Yi Qiu saw this scene, he suddenly had a very bad premonition. "A single leaf knows the autumn?" Ling Duanya laughed, laughing very happily. "I don't know what you're talking about." Yi Qiu played dumb. "Look at these, and you'll understand." Ling Duanya spread the documents in front of Yi Qiu. Yi Qiu took a closer look and quickly realized that these were some of the missions he had completed in his career. These documents recorded the process of the missions in detail. More accurately, it recorded the process of the crimes he committed. How did these confidential documents leak out? Yi Qiu's scalp went numb, and he instantly thought of escaping. The lock in his hand was almost useless to him. He could break free with brute force. He thought that nothing would happen to him before, so he stayed here obediently. But now, things were different. If he didn't leave, he would be waiting for death. However, just as Yi Qiu had this thought, he suddenly felt weak all over. He couldn't exert any strength, and even moving his fingers was difficult. How could this be? That glass of water. Yi Qiu felt that something was wrong with his body and couldn't help but be shocked. He quickly remembered something. Chapter 358. Ding! The host manipulated behind the scenes, causing the protagonist Yi Qiu to be arrested and punished by justice. Obtained 1,600 villain points. Yi Qiu's protagonist aura -80. Host villain aura +80. Ding! Yi Qiu has no possibility of escaping. He has lost his protagonist status. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through the 9,000 villain aura mark. The reward is being calculated. Please wait. Wang Haoran received 3 messages in a row. He wasn't surprised at all about Yi Qiu's death. When he caught Yi Qiu, there were 2 additives in the water he drank. One was to make Yi Qiu lose his manhood, and the other was to make Yi Qiu's muscles and nerves permanently paralyzed, and it was irreversible. Yi Qiu lost his ability as a first-class assassin, and Bufian found evidence of Yi Qiu's crimes over the years. What awaited Yi Qiu was the punishment of justice. Wang Haoran felt a little regretful about this. Because his original plan was to keep stopping Yi Xiao from renting and let Yi Xiao continue to take advantage of him. But who would have thought that Yi Xiao would jump out and deliver himself to him? After sorting out his emotions, Wang Haoren looked forward to the reward for breaking through the 9,000 villain aura mark. The reward for breaking through the villain aura mark, except for the first time, which was a little bit of a scam, was all very amazing. He didn't know what the reward would be this time. And while Wang Haoren was looking forward to it, the system soon sent a notification. Ding! The reward for breaking through the 9,000 villain aura mark has been calculated. Congratulations to the host for obtaining an unlimited push trial card. After receiving the notification, Wang Haoren felt that the reward was a little familiar. He couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Then, he quickly checked the description. Unlimited push trial card. Value: 60,000 villain points. After use, the user will start in unlimited push mode. Forcefully seduce any female protagonist, and the female protagonist's favorability towards the host will be raised to the maximum. Note 1. After the trial card is activated, the time limit is 3 hours. Note 2. A trial card can only be used on one female protagonist. After reading the description, Wang Haoren finally understood why this reward was a little familiar. Wasn't this a variant of Yin Yuntian's unlimited push aura? However, this was an experience card with a time limit, and each experience card could only be used on one female lead. Yin Yuntian's halo was permanent. This experience card was a far cry from Yin Yuntian's halo, but in terms of its use, it could also be used to deal with a female lead. Moreover, no matter what the female lead's initial favorability was, even if it was minus 100, it could quickly be pulled up to 100 points. However, Wang Haoren was extremely disdainful of this reward. As a supervillain, using such a method to deal with the female lead would be too degrading. This was a low-level method that only minor villains would use. The next afternoon, Wang Haoren came to Yu Shiqing's barbecue restaurant. The clothes are already dry. I'll go get them for you. When Yu Shiqing saw Wang Haoren, she immediately understood what was going on. She quickly went upstairs. When she came back, she handed the coat from yesterday to Wang Haoren. After taking the jacket, Wang Haoren said, "Are you free? Let's go for a walk." Yu Shiqing was stunned for a moment. She thought she had misheard. "What did you say?" "I wanted to go for a walk. Can you do me the honor?" Wang Haoren invited her again. Yu Shiqing was flattered. No boy had ever said such a thing to her, let alone such a handsome guy. "Shiqing, there's nothing to do in the restaurant. If he asked you to go, just go." Yu Shiqing's mother heard them and quickly interjected. Because of yesterday's incident, Yu Shiqing's mother was quite friendly to Wang Haoren. Naturally, she would not guard against Wang Haoren and treat him as a bad guy. Moreover, Yu Shiqing's mother did not think that Wang Haoren had feelings for her daughter. She thought it was just an ordinary interaction between classmates. Naturally, she would not stop it. Yu Shiqing was also a freshman. Speaking of which, she and Wang Haoren were in the same year. It was just that they were in different departments. "Can you wait for me? I want to change my clothes." Yu Shiqing was very willing, but she felt embarrassed. After hearing that her mother did not object, she naturally agreed. Wang Haoren nodded. After Yu Shiqing left for a while, when she came back again, she had changed into a fresh dress. "Okay, let's go." Yu Shiqing lowered her head, her voice as small as a mosquito. Wang Haoren and Yu Shiqing left the barbecue restaurant and came to a quiet pavilion in the nearby park. On the bench in the pavilion, a figure was sitting and waiting. "You're here." Hearing the sound, the figure turned around and said to Wang Haoren. Yu Shiqing looked at the beautiful woman with the temperament of an iceberg snow lotus. She could not help but be stunned. She felt a burst of disappointment in her heart, but then she laughed at herself as if it was natural. "This is my friend. Her name is Bian Suen. She's a miracle doctor." Wang Haoren sensed Yu Shiqing's mood. In order to take care of her fragile heart, he hurriedly explained. When Yu Shiqing heard this, her self-mocking mood disappeared. She suddenly felt grateful. "The birthmark on my face has been treated by many doctors, but all of them, my friend, is different from those doctors. Trust me." Wang Haoren interrupted her and comforted her. Yu Shiqing nodded, and then silently followed behind Wang Haoran. They walked to the pavilion and sat down. Bien Suin first looked at Wang Haoran with affection, but thinking that there were others here, she did not do anything else. She focused on Yu Shiqing's face. Yu Shiqing lowered her head subconsciously after being stared at like this. Don't be nervous. Let me take a look. I need to understand the situation to make an accurate judgment. Bien Suin said in a gentle voice. When Yu Shiqing heard this, she slowly raised her head. However, she could not help but hold the corner of her clothes tightly. Bien Suin lifted Yu Shiqing's bangs. She clearly felt that Yu Shiqing was trembling. However, she did not resist since she had comforted her before. After a while, Bien Suin put down Yu Shiqing's bangs and frowned slightly. How is it? Wang Haoran did not feel very good, but he still could not help but ask. This birthmark is rooted in the flesh. I can't remove it completely. Bien Suin was a little ashamed as she said, It's impossible for me to remove it completely. I can only remove most of it and make the color of the birthmark lighter. However, your friend's skin is delicate and white. The faint birthmark may be a little obvious in comparison. Wang Haoran was already mentally prepared. After hearing this, he was not disappointed. He had already guessed that the only person who could completely remove the birthmark on Yu Shiqing's face was Lu Chen. However, Lu Chen was gone. He did not care whether Yu Shiqing would become more beautiful or not. In other words, his original motivation to cure Yu Shiqing's birthmark was gone. If he wanted Lu Chen's help, he would definitely need to spend a lot of money. However, Wang Haoran did not want to give money to the protagonist. It seemed that he could only rely on his connections. If he could make friends with someone who was close to Lu Chen and let the other party take Yu Shiqing to Lu Chen for treatment, he would not need to spend a penny. Wang Haoran knew two such people. One was Lu Chen's old grandfather, and the other was Lu Chen's beautiful sister. As for who to make friends with, was there a need to choose? Chapter 359. After bidding farewell to Bien Suin, Wang Haoran and Yu Shiqing prepared to go to school. On the way, Yu Shiqing was in a very good mood, because Bien Suin said that although it could not completely remove the birthmark on her face, it could remove most of it and make the color of the birthmark much lighter. At that time, the birthmark on her face would not be so scary. If she covered it with makeup, no one would be able to see it. Yu Shiqing knew that if there was no birthmark on her face, she would still be very beautiful. Although there was an additional cumbersome matter of putting on makeup, it was completely acceptable. After all, as a girl, how could she reject this? And most importantly, she would not lower her head in the future. Of course, Yu Shiqing could not help but feel a little disappointed. She still hoped that whether she put on makeup or not, she would still be a great beauty, because only in this way could she look compatible with the person beside her. At the side, Wang Haoran looked at Yu Shiqing and could completely sense her emotions. However, she did not say that there was someone who could completely remove her birthmark. After arriving at the school, the two had to go to different departments for classes, so they went separate ways. But at this time, there was still a lot of time before class started. Wang Haoran went to the second year to inquire about Lu Chen. He learned from Lu Chen's classmates that Lu Chen had taken a long leave and did not come to class. This was completely within Wang Haoran's expectations. Wang Haoran then asked Lu Chen's roommate about the basic information of Lu Chen's sister. Qingling Academy of Art. Lu Yan, who had just woken up from her afternoon nap, received a call. Brother, you finally know to call me back. I called you so many times before, but you didn't call back. I thought something had happened to you. Lu Yan complained on the phone. Hearing Lu Yan's words, Lu Chen felt heartbroken. But he did not want to tell his sister what had happened to him, so he lied. Your brother is doing very well. What could possibly happen to him? It's just that I was too busy with my homework, so I didn't call back. That's good. Lu Yan did not think much. Have any strange men been looking for you recently? Lu Chen thought of something important, so he deliberately asked. Strange men looking for me? No. Lu Yan was puzzled. Brother, why did you tell me this? Of course it's because I'm afraid you'll be deceived, Lu Chen said. I'm not a kid. How could I be deceived? Lu Yan said unhappily. Anyway, just be careful. Don't talk to strange men. If If a guy named Wang Haoran tries to hit on you, just ignore him, Lu Chen warned. Previously, Wang Haoran had mentioned his sister. Lu Chen was afraid that this bad guy would pester his sister, so he deliberately called to warn her. Why are you ignoring someone called Wang Haoran? Lu Yin was puzzled. This Wang Haoran is a scumbag rich second generation. He coerced our school's goddess professor and even forced her to have an abortion. Other than the goddess professor, a few of our school's campus belles might not have escaped from his evil hands. Lu Chen began to smear Wang Haoran's reputation. Then, he solemnly warned, your brother has some conflicts with this person. I'm afraid that he'll target you, so I'm reminding you not to trust this Wang Haoran. I'll remember, Lu Yin replied seriously. You must remember, Lu Chen was still a little worried. After all, this scumbag rich second generation was too handsome. He was afraid that his sister would not be able to control herself. Brother, don't worry. If someone called Wang Haoran hits on me, I'll slap him, Lu Yin said. Please don't. You're just a weak girl. You're no match for him. Please don't hit him, Lu Chen hurriedly said. I'm just saying, I won't hit him. Anyway, when I see this Wang Haoran, I'll ignore him even if he beats me to death. He can't do anything to me, Lu Yin said with a smile. When Lu Chen heard this, he was completely relieved. This sister of his was very sensible and obedient. She respected her brother. Since she said so, there would be no problem. Lu Yin, a freshman at Qingling Art College. After learning the basic information about Lu Chen's sister, Wang Haoran was too lazy to attend the afternoon classes. He drove his high-end Audi directly to Qingling Art College. The distance between the colleges in Qingling was not too far. It took less than 20 minutes to drive from Qingling University to Qingling Art College. Not long after, Wang Haoran arrived at his destination. It was not time for classes yet. There were many girls coming and going at the entrance of the Qingling Art College. When the flashy Audi arrived at the school gate, it immediately attracted many eager gazes. When Wang Haoran got out of the car, the surrounding girls were even more mesmerized. Extremely rich, extremely handsome. Naturally, these are the two dreamy criteria in the hearts of many girls in the Qingling Art College. Wang Haoran glanced at the surrounding girls. He ignored them and walked into the school. However, a few bold and open-minded girls could not help but follow behind him. After following for a while, one of the good-looking girls took the initiative to catch up with Wang Haoran. She came to Wang Haoran and greeted him with a smile. Hello, handsome. Let's get to know each other. My name is Zhu Xiao. I'm a freshman in the dance department here. After introducing herself, she continued, I've seen all the handsome guys in our school. You're not from our school, right? Are you looking for someone here? I'm very familiar with this place. Maybe I can help you. Wang Haoran paused slightly. Is there someone called Lu Yin in your school? Lu Yin? This name is too common. I think you can find a bunch of them, Zhu Xiao said with a smile. I'm looking for the prettiest one, Wang Haoran said. When Zhu Xiao heard this, she paused for a moment before saying, I know all the handsome guys and beauties in this school. There's no pretty girl called Lu Yin. Then sorry to bother you. Wang Haoran immediately lost interest in chatting. Zhu Xiao saw the other party's cold expression and could tell that he was not interested in her. However, she still wanted to make friends with him. After all, he drove a big car and was so handsome. He was probably a rich second-generation heir. If she could be his friend, it would be very respectable. After changing her mindset, Zhu Xiao caught up with him again and told him the truth. There's a campus belle in our school called Lu Yin. She's in the same class and dorm as me. I just don't know if she's the one you're looking for. Where is she? Wang Haoran smiled. When Zhu Xiao saw this smile, she was mesmerized for a moment. Then, she quickly replied, It's almost time for dance class. You'll see her in the classroom later. Then can you lead the way? I'll go and listen in, Wang Haoran said. Of course, Zhu Xiao agreed readily. She tried to figure out Wang Haoran's thoughts and reminded him, Lu Yin doesn't know how to behave. This Lu Yin doesn't know what's good for her. Although you're very handsome and rich, if you want to pursue her, you might be asking for a snub.